baffled and lost Democrats seek road forward. Sound familiar? We were in a tough place then, just as we are now after November 2016. Democrats were written off as divided and despondent, but we came roaring back. We took back control of the House and the Senate in 2006, and we put Barack Obama in the White House in 2008. Those victories did not happen overnight. They were built from the ground up, and they were the result of tough decisions we made as a party to prepare for the future. After you lose an election, you have to be able to look in the mirror. That's what we did after 2004, and that's what the DNC's current leadership has been doing for a year and a half. They understand that the status quo has to change, especially when it comes to the issue of superdelegates. This is not a new issue, but it is an urgent one. In recent years, many voters, especially young people who fuel our party and share our values, have lost faith in our party's nominating process. And make no mistake, this is a perception that's cost us at the ballot box. If we want to grow our party and win, we need to look in the mirror again, and we need to listen and respond to the will of grassroots voters. That is why I want to encourage you to vote yes on the Rules and Bylaws Committee's reforms. As a so-called superdelegate myself, I believe this is the best path forward. It is exactly the kind of change we have to make, not just to strengthen our candidates, but to strengthen the view of the Democratic Party among a core group of voters, which is young Americans who are fueling the resist movement. We need to take back our democracy and win the White House in 2020, and we need to win the Congress in November. As a former chair of the DNC, I'm proud of everything we stand for as Democrats. We're a diverse party, we're a passionate party, and we're absolutely determined to fight for the future that America's hardworking families deserve. But the only way that we can build that future is if we win elections. That is what this is about. Every single Democrat counts, and every ounce of effort that you put into this is going to make a difference. Go get it. We're going to show the Republicans what it takes to make America really great, which is to stand up for core beliefs and American values. By the time we get done with them, we're going to wonder who they were and why they ever got elected.
Thank you, Governor Dean. I want to turn now to my friend Ken Martin, Chair of the SDC, to introduce our next speaker.
All right, fellow Democrats. Just over 2 months ago, the Supreme Court handed down the Janus decision. As many of you know, there were lots of reports about how this would be the death of the organized labor movement in our country. Well, this next speaker is doing a lot to make sure that that's not true. And of course, just a couple weeks ago, we saw that the reports of labor's death were greatly exaggerated in Missouri when, thanks to organized labor and so many in this room, we beat back the right to work bill and made sure that workers' rights are protected in the state of Missouri. Guess what, brothers and sisters? Labor's on the rebound thanks to our next speaker. Please welcome the president of our state, Lee Saunders.
Have run high at this meeting because we Democrats were passionate. We're passionate about our beliefs. So I want to start off this morning by sharing some good news with you first. In a major victory for working people, a federal court struck down the Trump executive orders attacking the rights of public service workers in the federal government to organize and bargain collectively. That happened last month. When we fight, we win together. Well, it was a clean sweep. It turns back a ruthless attack on the integrity of the career civil service, and therefore a victory for democracy itself. A victory for all of us. Now let's get down to today's business. Because we're here to work out our differences so we can march in unity together into the 2018 and 2020 elections and celebrate more victories for our democracy, celebrate more victories for working families. There's been a lot of talk these past few days about disenfranchisement, and I agree. There's no question it's something we should be talking about. We should be talking about that subject. But these reforms that this body will vote on today, I believe, are not the problem. If you care about disenfranchisement, look no further than what happened in November of 2016, when we lost the presidency and hundreds of other federal, state, and local offices across this country. Each of us in this room, plus our families and friends in our communities, were disenfranchised by the outcome of that election. Make no mistake about it. Look at what's happening as a result of our 2016 defeats. Attacks on our freedom to vote, our freedom to build collective power in a labor union, our reproductive freedoms, and the freedom to love whom we love. Look around at the attacks on the freedom of our immigrant sisters and brothers to simply live together in families. It's on us. It's on us to fix this. It is our responsibility, Democrats. And it'll be our fault if we don't act today to make a change. We cannot repair the damage that has been done. And we can't restore the freedoms that have been taken away from us unless we can win elections. That means we must have a nominating process that leads to victory in 2020 and beyond. We have the right ideas. We have the right values, which most Americans share. People have confidence that we will protect working families over wealthy corporations, that we will fight every single day for quality health care, invest in education, defend Social Security, protect the environment, and much more. That's who we are. That's why we breathe. That's why we fight every single day. They don't, however, have confidence that our presidential nominating process is fair and democratic. They feel alienated. They feel disconnected. Now, these aren't radical or revolutionary reforms. All we're saying is that unpledged delegates would not automatically vote on the first presidential nominating ballot. It's a change that I believe is modest and reasonable. But it will go a long way toward restoring trust in our party. You know, over the last year and a half, there's been an incredible awakening around the country. A surge of activism around progressive values. I honestly believe, and I believe you do too, that we are living in a movement moment, with people organizing and mobilizing in unprecedented ways. Communities of color rising up to fight racial and economic justice, a movement moment. Thousands have taken to the streets to protest the separation of children from their parents at the border, a movement moment. There was a women's march, the March for Our Lives, the teacher walkouts in the reddest of states, a movement moment. But when we have that movement moment, we can win if we are together. And these are one-off events. They have grown into sustained movements for change. Exactly the kind of change our party represents. But I want to be honest with you. Many of these activists don't see political parties as vehicles for change, vehicles for progress. And we need to connect with them. We need to tap into their energy. We need to make sure they are seen and heard. We need to toss out the welcome mat and invite them into the house to walk with us, to walk door to door with us, convincing them that our party is their natural home. All of us need to do that. But we can't do that with the status quo. We can't do that as long as they believe that insiders pull all the levers in the Democratic Party. We can't do it with the current system of unpledged delegates. And I say that as a superdelegate myself and president of one of the largest unions in the American labor movement. We've got to change. The Rules and Bylaws Committee undertook a rigorous process and has come up with an even-handed proposal, I believe. Doesn't disenfranchise anyone. Doesn't dilute the diversity that has always been essential to our strength and to our vitality. If it did this, I've got to tell you, speaking to you right now, I wouldn't be on board with these proposals because of who I am and where I came from. But I support these proposals. What they do is make more people feel like they have a voice. It's an important step toward empowering the grassroots, promoting inclusion, and widening the decision-making circle. The proposed caucus reforms make political engagement easier for more people, especially voters with disabilities, those who speak limited English, and working people who shouldn't have to choose between job security and democratic participation. This is our movement moment. To take a hard look at ourselves and to make a change. Sisters and brothers, we can't wait. No more delays or deliberations. We've debated this ad nauseum. Our job as a Democratic Party is to get Democrats elected, so let's start that right now. The total package of reforms, and then we've got to push this and support it. And then let's leave Chicago. Let's leave this place. And let's do what we do best. And that is organize and mobilize and educate all of our communities across this country. If not us, who? If not now, when? Let's get the job done, sisters and brothers. Thank you.
President Saunders, thank you for your remarks, and also President Saunders, thank you for your leadership in the labor movement, and thank you for your service on the Rules and Bylaws Committee. The tireless efforts of that committee are so critically important. I also want to thank our friend Randy Weingarten, President of AFT, for her service on the Rules and Bylaws Committee as well. So, while we are thanking people, folks, can we thank Unite Here Local 1 for the great work they've been doing in this hotel? Give them a hand. Thank you very much. They're in a tough stretch right now, negotiations, and we're going to make sure that we are working with them to help them. So, Okay, so, folks, thank you for what y'all been doing. We've had a productive week here. We've been doing great work. We've been talking about the fact that there's 73 days till the weekend. We've been talking about the fact that we've got wind at our back, but we've got work to do. We've been talking about the fact that we've been investing in our infrastructure, building our infrastructure, organizing in every state, organizing in every zip code. and you're leaving today with a roadmap for success. That is the work that you've been doing. That's the work that we've been doing. And that is because in 73 days, we have the most important election of our lifetime. Our health care is on the ballot. Our democracy is on the ballot. Our middle class is on the ballot. Our environment is on the ballot. Our kids' future is on the ballot. There are no guardrails in Washington right now, and there are too many states that have no guardrails. And that's the work we've talked about over the course of the last few days. But what we've also been doing is talking about rebuilding trust. And in a moment, I'm going to turn it over to the Rules and Bylaws Committee. Before I do that, I'm going to give the floor to my friend Don Fowler, because I want to make sure, we talked yesterday, we talked at great length yesterday, but I want to make sure, as a matter of fairness, that I give Don the floor. He has been a tireless member of the DNC, and I want to make sure he'll have that perspective, and you'll hear that perspective from him. But folks, as Lee correctly said, this is the time to vote. It's time to make history. It's time to make a clear statement to people who share our values, that we trust you, and we're going to take some bold measures to earn your trust so you will join our party and join our fight to take back our democracy. That's what this package of reforms will do. And so let's review very, very quickly how we got here. We took a unanimous vote at the 2016 convention to reform our party. The charge from the convention was to take steps to open up our party, reform our primary and caucus process, and reduce the influence of superdelegates. That was the charge. And the Unity Reform Commission, under the able leadership of my good friend Larry Cohen and Jen O'Malley Dillon, they took their charge very seriously, deliberating for months and making a series of important recommendations designed to make it easier for people to participate in our primary and caucus process. The Rules and Bylaws Committee deliberated for over 80 hours, and I want to say a special thanks to everyone on that committee, especially our distinguished co-chairs, Jim Roosevelt and Lorraine Miller. Deliberated for over 80 hours over a period of months and produced a package of proposed reforms that we will vote on shortly. This process has been inclusive throughout, and the URC and the RBC have been vigilant in ensuring that everybody's voice was heard and every idea was given careful consideration. We spent a lot of time in this room yesterday, and it was important time because we wanted to make sure everybody's voice was heard. It's clear now that there is in fact consensus on a significant portion of the package of reforms, and quite frankly, as I listened yesterday, it seems to me that there are two substantive issues that are going to require a vote of the body, and they both relate to the subject of superdelegates. The RBC proposal states that superdelegates retain all their powers except that they will not vote on the first ballot unless the outcome has already been decided by the grassroots voters. That's what it is. So we have two votes that we got to take that are the votes of significance here, folks. Number one, does the change require a charter amendment? And number two, do you want to vote for reform? These are the two issues, folks. You sat here for 4 hours yesterday. Those are the basic two issues that I heard. And once we resolve these issues, we can move to the final package, and that's exactly what we're doing. And my recommendation to you is let's pass the entire package, because the only way we can make meaningful, comprehensive, and historic change today is if we pass a full package of reform. Not half, not two-thirds. And you know why? Because, to use my friend Lee's point, we have a movement moment here, folks. It's a movement moment. When it comes to building a stronger future for our people, for our party, and for our nation, going part of the way, I don't think is enough. And as I said yesterday, being a hockey fan that I am, it's important not to simply skate to where the puck is, you skate to where the puck is going. That's what this package is about. The entire package. It's helping us to skate our party to where the puck of politics is going. That's what it's about. It's always been about the future. It's always been about our party's future. It's always been about our children's future. That is why we are going to turn shortly to Lorraine Miller and Jim Roosevelt. But I want to give my friend Don Fowler from whom you have heard, an opportunity to speak, because I know Don, he reflects a different view, and I want to make sure he has that opportunity. So Chairman Fowler, the floor is yours.
Hello, Democrats! Are we going to win in 2020? More importantly, are we going to win in 2018? This party is responsible for the progress of America for 200 years, and we can't stop now. We must move on to victory and reinstate the love of human beings, the rights of people to act and do and be themselves, to love whom they love, and the right to be freely engaged in our political operations. And that's what we all want to do here today in this meeting. I have 4 or 5 very quick points I would make with respect to this proposal that's before you. First, it's disenfranchising. 200 African Americans will be eliminated from the vote on the first ballot. 100 Latinos, dozens of people from the LGBT community, and dozens of people who suffer physical or other disabilities. Those will all be eliminated because they are contained in these people, you and me and the elected officials across America. Those will be eliminated on the first ballot. The Democratic Party has been the engine for conveying the vote to African Americans, to women, to LGBTQ people, and all other Americans. We have been the engine to spread democracy. Now we're going to turn around and take democracy away from these folks. It's not right, and it's not fitting for the Democratic Party to do that. Secondly, this organizational structure is unique, and I mean that literally. You look at any membership organization anywhere in the United States, and for that matter, most of the rest of the world, there is not a membership organization that systematically cuts off its leadership from the most sacred decisions that those organizations make. Not a union, not a religious organization, not a patriotic organization, and many other kinds. You can't find an organization that deliberately cuts off the leadership from the most important business that the party has. That's what this proposal would do if it's adopted. And it's confusing. Many of you have heard me talk about this before. It took the RBC 8 hours to figure out how you calculate a majority for the nomination. When there was an adoption of this proposal, there was a telephone call to boost its support. And the question was asked, how do you calculate a majority? And the answer was, it's 50% of both the pledged and the unpledged delegates, but only the pledged delegates vote. That's a return to something more than a majority required to nominate. That's 56 or 57%. Just happens that was not what the RBC chose to offer. So there was a hurry up trying to get that straightened out. And then when they published finally the call to the convention, it had both of those standards in there in a very confusing way. With all of this confusion and uncertainty within the confines of the people who have to shape these matters and sell them to the public, how's it going to be when you try to explain that to people in union halls and church basements and schoolhouses? It's going to be very, very difficult. The last point I want to make is that this is a fundamental change in the way we nominate our presidents. Some of you remember that in the early 80s, there was a Hunt Commission that studied the delegate selection process, and they recommended the creation of these unpledged delegates, as we called them then, and they were put into the charter. Into the charter. Not the bylaws, the charter. And they've been there ever since. And now what this proposal alleges to do is to take that right out of the charter without amending the charter. They take it out without amending it. And this makes no sense whatsoever. It is clear that the right to vote goes into the charter and permits the party leadership to vote on the first ballot of every nominating procedure in the national conventions. This attempt to take voting rights away from people whose voting rights are assured in the charter by simply ignoring the charter is not good government. It will not convey confidence and strength to the American people. It will be confusing. It will take the leadership out of the presidential nominating process, which it has served very well for decades. And I ask you to vote no on this proposal when we get to its debate. Thank you.
Let me now bring up the co-chairs of the Rules and Bylaws Committee, Jim Roosevelt and Lorraine Miller, to present their work and their recommendations.
Good morning, fellow Democrats.
Good morning.
And thank you, Chair Perez, for your kind introduction and for your leadership. I'd also like to thank everyone in this room today for coming together to engage in this discussion on these vital reforms for our party. Today is the culmination of 8 months of work that the Rules and Bylaws Committee has put in, more than, after Thursday night, 83 hours of public meetings, to create a set of recommendations that will govern our next delegate selection and presidential nominating process. My very good friend Lorraine Miller and I are very happy and excited to provide you with the report of the Rules and Bylaws Committee, and we're very happy to have it ready to go. The package that we are presenting you for approval incorporates a number of reforms that will make our party more fair, open, and transparent. Lorraine and I have talked with many of you about the proposed changes on many phone calls and in-person meetings. And these are changes to the delegate selection rules, the call to the convention, and amendments to our charter and bylaws. We greatly appreciate the dialogue we've had with you and the opportunity to address any questions or concerns. In addition to the package recommended for approval by the Rules and Bylaws Committee, we've also invited members to submit suggested amendments. At our meeting on this Thursday, 2 days ago, the Rules and Bylaws Committee heard from several DNC members who sent in proposed amendments to the documents that were circulated over a month ago. The committee appreciated the members taking the time to submit proposals on these topics and share their views with us at our meeting. In total, the committee heard 6 proposals submitted by 4 members. After discussion and thoughtful consideration, 3 of the proposals were withdrawn by the makers, by the people who submitted them. The committee voted to not approve 3 proposals and to recommend that the general membership here this morning not adopt them, should they be raised from the floor. Lorraine and I would like to take just a couple of minutes to briefly outline the changes we are proposing for the delegate selection rules, the call to the convention, and the charter and bylaws. These 3 documents are what is being amended to enact our proposed reforms and what we are presenting to you for approval today. I'm going to turn it over now to my distinguished co-chair, Lorraine Miller, to walk through some of these proposals.
Good morning, Democrats. Jim and I want to give a heartfelt thank you to every member of our Rules and Bylaws Committee. I mean, we worked hard and long and deliberate on your behalf to come up with some proposals we think make our party so much stronger, and we'll be able to win. So I'd like to echo my co-chair Jim Roosevelt's sentiments that the reforms are necessary. They're a necessary step to reform our party. And the Unity Reform Commission, who we've come to love, followed by our Rules and Bylaws Committee, spent countless hours deliberating and fine-tuning. The Rules and Bylaws Committee spent considerable time, ladies and gentlemen, from January through July, discussing the best approach regarding unpledged delegates, or what we are now calling automatic delegates. At our meeting in Providence in March, we spent 3 hours on this issue alone. After extensive discussions, the Rules and Bylaws Committee concluded that on the first presidential roll call vote, automatic delegates will vote only if a presidential candidate has secured enough delegates, pledged delegates, to receive the nomination. Otherwise, only pledged delegates will vote on the first presidential roll call. If there is a second presidential roll call, automatic delegates will vote, and the automatic delegates will continue to be able to vote on all other convention matters, including the standing committee reports, credentials, rules, platform, and of course, the vice presidential nomination. While the RBC's recommendation goes beyond the mandate that was used to guide the Unity Reform Commission's work, the Rules and Bylaws Committee determined that this was the best and the most fair approach to address the perception that automatic delegates have exerted an undue influence in choosing the party's presidential nominee. With regard to the Commission's recommendations about presidential primaries, the Rules and Bylaws Committee has strengthened and added rules that encourage state parties to use government-run primaries where possible. The proposed changes to our delegate selection rules will help ensure that primaries are more accessible to anyone who wishes to participate as a Democrat in our nominating process. The proposed rules provide that state parties are to use all means necessary, including encouraging legislation, considering litigation, to achieve state laws that allow same-day or automatic registration for the Democratic presidential nominating process and same-day party switching for a democratic presidential nominating process. Oh, come on, this is good stuff. The Rules and Bylaws Committee is also proposing changes to the delegate selection rules pertaining to caucuses. These changes will ensure these party-run contests will be more transparent and accessible to a wider range of voters. These revisions include requiring caucuses to, 1, implement same-day voter registration and party affiliation changing. Hello? 2, create a process for publicly reporting the total statewide and district level results for each candidate preference by participants at the first expression of preference. 3, require that the allocation of all national delegates be locked in at the final expression of preference at the first determining step. 4, create mechanisms that allow for absentee voting. And 5, ensure a right to participate for all, including specifically people with disabilities and those with limited language proficiency. All right.
Thank you to my co-chair and our cheerleader. We're going to turn to a few of the other topics that are in our report, but I want to particularly emphasize that the method that we are selecting preserves and enhances the diversity of our convention, as we have done through the rules over the years, and that is completely preserved in the recommendations that we are making. As you may recall, the Unity Reform Commission's recommendations concerning party reforms addressed a number of issues. Many of the recommendations spoke to DNC operations and policies that are outside the jurisdiction of the Rules and Bylaws Committee. However, many of those recommendations are already being implemented at the headquarters of the DNC through programs that address the Unity Reform Commission's recommendations on outreach, education, and voter protection, and that outline the DNC's investments in technology, empowering grassroots participation, diversifying the donor base, and supporting state parties in building infrastructure. For those Unity Reform Commission recommendations that could be addressed through party rules, the RBC has proposed a number of amendments to the charter and bylaws. Those amendments are included as part of amendment number 1 that you have at your places. These proposals address areas such as transparency of the DNC's budget and operations, and violations of the charter and bylaws. The Rules and Bylaws Committee feels that these amendments will make the DNC more transparent and accountable both to its members, the DNC's members, and to our party as a whole. Additionally, amendment number 2 that you have at your places includes proposed changes to the charter and bylaws to expand our equal division rules to be inclusive of gender non-binary members of the party. Lorraine and I would like to thank all of you for the productive conversations we've had around the important principles of our party. We hope that each of you will support the recommended package from the Rules and Bylaws Committee. The Rules and Bylaws Committee report will be considered in 2 parts. First, the proposed delegate selection rules and call to the convention, and second, the proposed amendments to the charter and bylaws. With that, Mr. Chair, I move the proposed delegate selection rules and the call for the convention be approved.
Mr. Ickes, point of order.
Mr. Chairman, Harold Ickes of Washington, D.C. As you know, there are differences of opinion on whether the call to the convention and the proposed rules of procedure for the convention can be effectuated without a charter amendment regarding the vote of automatic unpledged delegates. I would like the chair to rule on this issue before we proceed any further. What, Mr. Chairman, is your ruling on whether we need an amendment to the charter and bylaws in order to implement the call to the convention and the proposed rules of procedure for the convention?
Thank you, Mr. Ickes. Your point is well taken. I understand that our DNC members have differing opinions on the need for an amendment. If you were here yesterday, you heard that. If you've gotten one email in the last few weeks, you may have gathered that. And I understand that. I've carefully reviewed the opinion of our DNC council and the work of the RBC, as well as information submitted to DNC members from those who disagree with our council and with the RBC. I have great respect for all of the lawyers who've been involved in this. I have great respect for Graham Wilson, great respect for Joe Sandler. I would note that Joe Sandler, and I've read his work and his opinions, while he has expressed a preference for a charter amendment, he acknowledged the merit of the RBC position that no amendment was required. And I've consulted with RBC members, especially, I've consulted with all the RBC members as I listened in their deliberations. This is not a new issue. It was debated in the Union Reform Commission. It was debated in the Rules and Bylaws Commission. And when you look at the breadth and depth of the experience of the Rules and Bylaws Commission, Chairman Roosevelt has served on the committee since 1991. He was appointed chair in 1996 by Chairman Fowler. There is remarkable expertise on the committee with co-chair Lorraine Miller and so many others. And I would note that the RBC voted nearly unanimously that the charter amendment was not required. So the chair has no doubt that I have no doubt that where I think we need to go in this, and I rule that there is no need for an amendment to the charter or bylaws in order to implement the call and the rules as proposed. At the same time, in the spirit of transparency, and you heard what I said this morning, there are two questions that we need to call. So I wish to submit this question to the full DNC. So I will assume an appeal of my ruling that there is no need for an amendment to the charter and bylaws in order to implement the proposed call and rules, which are a recommendation from the Rules and Bylaws Committee. Therefore, the pending question before this body is the appeal of the decision of the chair that the motion from the RBC to adopt the proposed call to the 2020 convention and the proposed rules of the 2020 convention are in order for implementation without an amendment to the charter and bylaws. This appeal of the chair's decision is debatable. And in the spirit of transparency, again, and accuracy, we will vote on this question by ballot, a paper ballot. The staff will pass out the ballots and collect the ballots. You will be able to vote yes or no on your ballot. A yes vote means you are in favor of sustaining the rule of the chair that an amendment to the charter and bylaws is not needed. A no vote means that you are not in favor of sustaining the ruling of the chair, and you believe that an amendment to the charter and bylaws is necessary. So we will now begin the debate on the motion that I have just outlined. We have two microphones here. If you are opposed, please go to my left. Joaquina is holding up her hand there. And if you are in support, please go to my right. And we have a 2-minute window there so that we can get through the debate with expeditiousness.
My question, sir, is if you hold a proxy, how do you indicate that on the paper ballot?
So those proxies will be, the proxies, I believe, have been distributed. And if you are, there's, pardon? Oh, there's a different ballot for proxies. You want to explain?
Mr. Fowler, to answer your question, when the ballots are distributed, there is a ballot that members will receive for those present. There's also a ballot that is designated as a proxy ballot. It says proxy ballot right on it. That you will designate who the proxy is that you're carrying, and you'll sign that one. So when the ballots are distributed, those that have a proxy will show their wristband to receive the proxy ballot.
Thank you.
Chairman Zodi from Indiana.
I will start with the president here and turn around, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Zodi. I'm the state chair from Indiana. And I'm also a member of the Rules and Bylaws Committee. This process over the last 8 months and the prior year that the URC spent, I think is best summed up by some of my friends are for this, some of my friends are against it, and I'm with my friends. We all have different interpretations of this. And I know two things. Number one, I don't know that I've been through a more transparent and deliberative process in the Democratic Party. In the 20 years I've been involved with the Democratic Party in my state and in the United States, I just haven't. Questions have been asked, interpretations have been made on a host of issues, including whether or not we need a charter amendment. And I was just standing next to a former chair of the DNC, which for me is, I'm among giants here. As a youngster, despite my frosty hair, I'm a little younger. And so I am among giants. And so we have deliberated these questions among new Democrats, existing Democrats, and folks that have been involved for a long time. I tried to boil this down for myself. As a new member of the Rules and Bylaws Committee, I tried to sift through the charter and the bylaws and say, what do we need? My interpretation of this, after discussion with others, is that the charter lays out, yes, we have these folks who vote and who exist. I sort of equate that to the Constitution. And the rules and the bylaws and the call are the statutes that we all see in our states, which talk about who votes, when, how, etc. I don't believe we need a charter amendment here. So I would propose that we sustain the ruling of the chair on this and move to adopt the Rules and Bylaws Committee report. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairman Zodi, thank you. You had 4 seconds to spare. So you returned the balance of your time. Thank you. Okay.
Has there been a motion to challenge the ruling of the chair?
Yes, it's that we are appealing that right now. You will have a vote. And again, just to reiterate, we are going to have a vote on the ballot. The staff is going to pass out the ballots.
I don't want to lose my time, Mr. Chairman.
No, you'll get your time back. I just want to reiterate so people will know where we are right now. A yes vote means you are in favor of sustaining the ruling of the chair that an amendment to the charter and bylaws is not needed. A no vote means that you are not in favor of sustaining the ruling of the chair, and you in fact believe that an amendment to the charter and bylaws is necessary. Those are the two positions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now start.
John Olson, Connecticut, elected DNC member. I'd like to respectfully disagree with the ruling of the chair, and I believe that this is called a unity commission, and we're trying to get unity. The charter had a provision in there for 2/3 vote to change it. That's so we can get a consensus and that we can get unity around any question that is a charter. I respectfully disagree. It's in the charter. I believe it's covered. But let me just say this about what we're doing here today. I'm a union man. I'm a Democrat. And a lot of people perceive that there's something wrong with the union or the Democrats. And I don't turn around and run away, never have. I'm a liberal, never change my labels, and I stand firm. And I don't capitulate to perceptions. What I do is stand up and make an argument to change them. So therefore, I implore, Mr. Chairman, that you turn around and divide this question so that we can have unity here. And by the way, I may vote for it. You never know. But we should have an opportunity to have a 2/3 vote and walk out of this place with unity that we need to have. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is
Frank Leone. I'm a DNC member elected from Virginia. I think there are 2 points, I guess, on the issue of a charter amendment and when it's necessary. First of all, if you read the charter, and if you read Article 2, Section 4, subsection H, it talks about unpledged delegates, it talks about the people who are automatic delegates, if you will. It doesn't talk about the rights of those delegates. We can adopt this change without changing a single word in the charter. If we adopted the Unity Reform Commission proposal and made delegates pledge, we would have had to have a charter change. Under these circumstances, we don't. Secondly, there are a benefit of this not requiring a charter change is we don't need to go through this process of changing the charter one way or another in the future. In other words, what we're doing is we're adopting the call and the rules for this convention. There have been discussions about maybe we should have a sunset provision. Essentially, we did. 4 years, we can take another look at it. We're Democrats. We're pretty much reform year-round all the time. But we could take a look at it. If we actually did make a charter change, then we would have to go through a long process to undo what we're doing. So this gives us more flexibility, and it's the right answer, because the argument that we need to change the charter says that even if nearly 2/3 of this body wants to reform, a minority can block that. And if the charter change was required, that's what we would have to do, but it's not required. So I urge everybody to vote yes to uphold the ruling of the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I disagree with the former speaker. And if you just look at our charter, look at Article 10, I'll quote, at least this is a quote. This charter may be amended by a vote of the majority of all of the delegates to the National Convention, provided that no such amendment shall be effective until it has subsequently been ratified by a vote of the majority of the entire membership of the Democratic National Committee. This charter may also be amended by a vote of 2/3 of the entire membership of the Democratic National Committee. That's what we are. At least 30 days of written notice shall be given of any National Committee meeting. Now, listen to me. Read this. This says this committee cannot change the charter unless of a 2/3 vote says yes. If you do this and it passes, all it takes is one DNC member or one person who is eligible to vote a superdelegate to challenge this in court. What will happen then? You will have chaos, because then you give the Republicans the chance to say, look, here's a Democratic Party who cannot come to a united decision on something, yet they want to take control of the country, unite the country. Read the charter. If you do this, it's violating the charter. And I have challenged our Constitution in Louisiana a few times and have won every time, because things that were passed by the legislature was in violation of the Constitution. So read the charter. You need to separate these things, because if it's challenged, not only will this hold up any superdelegates, it will hold up the other 3 items in this. And it could cause us to face the possibility of not being united in November and in 2020. So follow the rules of our charter. Thank you.
Thank you. If you can please identify yourself for purposes of the record, that was Arthur Morell from Louisiana. So, Mr. No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Harold Ickes, Washington, D.C. I've been on the Rules and Bylaws Committee along with Don Fowler for many, many years, decades. There are 2 things to keep in mind. This rule that's being proposed does not require a charter amendment. All delegates, automatic and pledged delegates, are mentioned in the charter. There is no question about that. The charter deals with the distribution of delegates. It is the call and the delegate selection rules that deal with how delegates vote. Beginning in 1975, The delegate selection rules have required imposition of sanctions on delegates by denying them the right to vote at the convention under certain conditions. That was in 1975. In the 1990s, some of whom you have already heard from today and who is lined up to speak again, supported putting in the delegate selection rules a sanction on members of the Democratic National Committee to deny them under certain conditions the right to vote at conventions. No mention was made at that time of a charter change, and that rule has prevailed throughout and has been strengthened. In the 2000s, we put in, looking at my time here, we added to that rule by denying, under certain circumstances, the right of governors, members of Congress, President of the United States, Vice President of the United States, and other elected officials, along with delegates, members of the Democratic National Committee, the right to vote under certain circumstances as sanctions were imposed. All of those sanctions are included in the delegate selection rules, not in the charter. Thank you.
Okay. Chairman Collins.
I rise for a personal point. Joe Sandler, who was the general counsel for this committee for decades, has written 2 letters about this. Here's what he said: "For these reasons, I remain of the view that a charter change is required." Now, there have been all sorts of talk about how you can get around this, but Joe Sandler, who is the preeminent authority on this point within the Democratic Party and outside, says that a charter change is required, with specific reference to the treatment of delegates who are there because of their positions. In 1982, an amendment was passed that created unpledged delegates. That was inserted in the charter. They have been voting from 84 to 88 to 92 to 96 to 2000 to 2004, 2008, 2012, and 2016, all because of the right that they have to vote in the charter. And to read these provisions with any other interpretation, no matter how smooth they seem to be, is flat wrong. And if we do this, we are forsaking the rule of law and doing something that our charter clearly prohibits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Stuart Applebaum. I'm a DNC member from New York. And I'd like to reiterate what Harold Dickey's just said, but I'd like to say it more simply. I'm a former chief counsel of the DNC. In the charter, we define what a delegate is, but we do not define vote, and I support the position of the chair. Thank you.
Hey Harold, hey, Bob Mulholland, a DNC member from Chico, California, and I do believe it requires a charter amendment. I see a president on TV every day breaking our U.S. Constitution. I don't think the DNC should be breaking our charter. It takes 2/3 to change the rules for unpledged.
Hi there, I'm Jeff Berman from Washington, D.C. I served on the Unity Reform Commission, and I serve on the Rules and Bylaws Committee. And I just want to say that I do not believe a charter amendment is required. The automatic delegates are going to participate at the National Convention on the rules, the credentials, the platform votes, and on voting on the vice presidential nomination and on the presidential nomination under certain circumstances. And We all know what those circumstances are. But I will say that there have been times, even in recent election cycles, where the automatic delegates have not been allowed to vote. And I'm speaking in particular about the Michigan and Florida situations in 2008, when, due to the timing of those primaries, that their votes were not allowed at that convention, and there was no charter change involved. It was something that was done pursuant to the normal authorities of the party. So the type of voting procedures that are available for the automatic delegates are not necessarily bound up in the charter. So I urge you to sustain the vote of the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Democratic National Committee. I rise to oppose the ruling of the chair. And I ask you to read the charter. To many of you, and to as many as I could, I have sent out the charter. And I ask you to look at Article 2 on the National Convention, Section 4, subsection I, H, subsection I, provide that all members of the Democratic National Committee to serve as unpledged delegates. We all serve as unpledged delegates. And the delegate, later in the charter, talks about full participation. We all have full participation. And to say that a delegate with full participation cannot vote is a dilution of that right to vote. Any misunderstanding or misinterpretation of that is simply an interpretation that's worthy of Rudy Giuliani or Kellyanne Conway. You know, it is bizarre that a delegate is supposed to have full participation. And to say that a delegate does not have that full participation, that's a dilution, and that's a violation of the charter. And there's a bigger issue, a much bigger issue really, that this is such a major change that we should have a 2/3 vote for this, regardless of whether it's in the charter or not in the charter. We need to be unified coming out of here. And right now, you heard yesterday, you heard Leah Daltrey, you heard Donna Brazil, you heard Senator Scheck, from the new senator from Georgia, is going to be the first Muslim senator from the state of Georgia. You heard how, it's time to go. I'll be back. Thank you.
Good morning, Democrats. Elaine Kmark from Massachusetts. I served on the Unity Commission and the Rules Committee. I've served on the Rules Committee for a very long time. I do not believe this requires a charter amendment. I support the ruling of the chair. There are instances in which delegates are in fact not allowed to vote. The most common is on their own credentials challenges, when there's a state credentials challenges. I do not believe we need to do this, and I think we want the ability from every 4 years to set the rules of the convention through the call. Circumstances change. We may be having the exact opposite debate in 4 or 5 years. And every 4 years, we set the circumstances for the call. And we should not tie ourselves into requiring that everything requires this 2/3 vote. So I urge you to please support the ruling of the chair.
Okay, so we have 3 more speakers. Okay, so we have 4 more speakers, and then we will distribute the ballots. Bob has already spoken, but Karen Carter-Peterson wanted to speak as well. Go ahead.
Hi, Brianna Cartwright from Florida. I'm an attorney. I got an A in common law, so I love the beauty of the many interpretations that you can take on the Constitution. And so with that saying, there's no right or wrong answer. You can interpret words in so many ways, and that's the beauty of law. But what I am saying is, that we don't need to think really about whether it should be amendment to the charter or not, but what we do need to think about is the unity aspect. And that no matter how you want this to go, yes or no, having 2/3 votes means we were in it together. And that's the most important thing as a Democrat is wit. We're in it together. So I just urge you guys to concentrate on the 2/3 aspect of it. Thank you.
Good morning. Larry Cohen, I was the Vice Chair of the Unity Reform Commission for Maryland. And yeah, we spent 2 years starting at the convention, a rules committee there of 200, 4,500 delegates, 21 members of the Unity Reform Commission for a year and a half. The Rules and Bylaws Committee took up this issue for almost an entire morning and voted unanimously with 2 abstentions after hearing from lawyer after lawyer. We're not starting from scratch. Research was done. This was deliberated. And I urge that we support the chair and vote to sustain the chair on this paper ballot and speak loudly for reform and in unity. Thank you.
Deborah Langhoff from New Orleans. I'm not an attorney. I come to the DNC after my community work following Katrina, where I worked on the ground block by block. And so I speak as a plain Democrat. I think that the D with the circle around it is what unites us. And I think that if the charter says 2/3 vote, what are we afraid of in this room? Why are you only willing to achieve a majority? The majority isn't always right on important issues. We need the 2/3 vote to walk out of here together, the D and the circle. Thank you.
Thank you. I respectfully disagree and object to the Karen Carter Peterson. I serve as the state party chair in Louisiana, and I also serve as the vice chair for voter protection and civic engagement. I think that what we're doing is impeding and infringing the unpledged delegates' right to vote. I think that it's not a privilege, it's a right. And every day as I work in the state senate, I vote and I represent people as the chair of a committee to protect people's right to vote. You cannot tell me that our charter does not say that there is a group of people that their right would be impeded and infringed upon if in fact this passes. If it's a right and not a privilege, what are we afraid of? And why wouldn't we want a higher standard when we walk out of here so that we can be united and have trust? If that is the objective, are you so worried about building and gaining the trust of one group at the expense of losing the trust of another? Did you hear me? Losing the trust of another. At 18 years old, I walked the streets and I ran as a pledged delegate for Jesse Jackson in 1988. From that time forward, I worked very, very hard to become chair of the party and vice chair of the DNC because of you. And I now serve as a super delegate. Are you telling me that in order to that I'm going to go to a convention after my 30 years of blood, sweat, and tears for this party, that you're going to take away my right when I fought since day one to appease a group of people? I got blood, sweat, and tears in this party, Mr. Chairman. And if we're going to do it, which I will respect the outcome, if we're going to do it, why would we not, when we walk every day to protect, don't worry about my time, I'm vice chair of this party and I'm protecting people's rights. And if somebody wants to speak after me for 15 minutes, I'm okay with that. But I have worked too long, and on behalf of the people that I represent, no, I am not going to be running as a pledged delegate. I am going to be an unpledged delegate, and I would like for that, if it's changed, to be instituted in the charter and constitution of our body. respectfully, and then we can get to the policy debate of whether or not it would be changed. But I think we owe that to the people that have earned that right. That's what I believe.
I thought we were through with speakers. Are you standing up because Bob, you've already spoken, so I'm not going to be recognizing you, okay?
Point of inquiry. I heard the credentials, but I never heard what is the final vote, the credential membership here for the ballot. What is it?
We will get to that when we're done there, okay, Bob? Thank you. Okay, seeing no other speakers at the dais, okay.
Gilda California, South Carolina, and I'm more ready to vote than any of you ever will be. Let me just say very clearly that sometimes you can win the battle and lose the war. Process is important. Heard a lot of comments about transparency. I'm not so sure I would concur with that. I am tired of losing. I am very tired of losing, and one of the things I would hope that this body would consider is that a part of the problem we have is messaging. And so I'm real unclear about how what we're doing is going to change anybody's mind about being a Democrat. Very quickly, let me say that I was one who was unpledged throughout the entire process. For those campaigns who've come to South Carolina, you know I was the only alleged superdelegate who didn't pledge. I had no place to vote. You're talking about voting. I went to my state convention and there was no caucus for me because I didn't endorse a candidate. I encourage us to stop being so focused on victory and understand that we all have our opinions, but we can't very well talk about what Donald Trump is doing when we are in effect doing the same thing. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Let me turn to Jason Ray now to talk about how we will proceed with the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As was mentioned, this will be a paper vote. We're asking all members to remain in their seats during the vote. We will have ballots handed out. They are going to come through the aisles, so please make sure there are room, including between the tables, to hand it directly to you. If you have a proxy, please make sure that your wristband is visible, and they will hand you a separate ballot for your proxy. They will then come through and collect the ballot. So we do ask members to remain seated during the vote.
To reiterate one more time, a yes vote means you are in favor of sustaining the ruling of the chair that an amendment to the charter and bylaws is not needed. A no vote means you are not in favor of sustaining the ruling of the chair. And
we're going to make this available to all the members of the SEC, because that's right. Through John Verdeo, our communications expert of the DNC members. The two experts.
All right, so here, why don't we do this while we have a moment? You can hold this on me. No, you hold this on me and Cliff. All right. So hey, all right. So you got us good?
Yep.
All right. So Sheila Huggins, Cliff Moon. So we're here at Saturday's general body meeting of the Democratic National Committee. And I don't know how well you can hear me over the music, but here's the thing. The whole idea is to sort of give you an understanding of what this is. This is work. And yes, we're sitting in here all day long to go through pieces of paper
for you.
Yes. And so this is what I tell people when people say that they aren't interested in politics. I say politics is about the allocation of rights and resources. So we're here working to make sure that our people in North Carolina get their proper allocation of rights and resources. Thank you.
Folks, one other reminder,
Hold on, we're
Please
getting our
sign your ballot. I do recall another
Sorry about
date
that.
when I was
Wait, I need a
participating
ballot,
in
but-
something back in February of 2017, and there were a few embarrassed people whose votes did not count because they did not sign the ballot. And again,
so one of the things that we're
a
going
yes
to
vote
do
means you are
now
in favor of sustaining the
we
ruling
have
of the
paper
chair.
ballots. We
A
have
no
paper
vote
ballots
means you
here,
are not in favor of sustaining the
and we
ruling
have
of
to
the
get
chair.
ready to vote. And so
On determining whether this is a charter amendment or whether it is not.
So I
This
asked
is how we
Cliff,
represent
yeah.
you. And if we don't do a good job of it, let us know.
But yeah, this is just to sort of give you a behind the scenes sort of look at what goes on here, because most people have no clue. And this is what we're doing. We're going to be sitting here at the meeting all day, voting on what kind of changes we need to make in the Democratic Party. Do you have some comments, Cliff?
This is sort of like the state executive committee, except everybody talks more. That's what it is. That's all. So understand, as you move up the ladder and you want to be a DNC member, you're ready for it. Get ready. You're in training at the state executive committee. No, it's our great privilege to represent you and as the state of North Carolina, and we do work at this. So thank you very much for allowing us to do so.
Yes. Okay. Let's see what else we have.
States, Lord. I think they can get NC out of that, right? Are we caucusing?
So is the understanding that full participation is the language that is in the charter?
Yes, it is there. The problem is the difference is it's kind of like, it is the question of charter lays out the general vision and representation and rights of the thing, and then the bylaws are more specific. And so there are two legitimate arguments going on here, it seems to me. It's the same thing, like in the plan of organization, the ruling for the committee, the Plan of Organization Review Committee, says that all amendments must come before the committee. However, in Section 12, it also says that only the SEC can make amendments. And so there's this difference of opinion about whether or not what 12 is saying, Section 12 is saying versus what Section 8 is saying. We're in a kind of similar thing in this thing, it seems to me, but not in a but in a probably more important way. I have to say that well, I wouldn't say this for both. I'm pretty sure that the ruling of the chair is probably correct, but we need a 2/3 vote on something today, and that's really a hard thing. That makes it more difficult to know what to do in some ways. Depends on whether it always comes down to whether you're a loose constructionist or a strict constructionist of the Constitution.
I tend to be more of a constructionist. At least, I think part of it just has to be clerical, So when you see something that says full participation, that means that you have all the same rights and privileges as everybody else.
And so that any action that would take that away in the bylaws is really takes away from the constitutionality.
That's right.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's watching, that just explains how
Nothing to you.
Yeah. But now what you're going to see is how I'm getting ready to vote, and I just explained the reasoning behind that. All right, so those are my votes on that. Oh, yeah, those are signed. You signed it? Okay. Yep. Signed? Yes, both are signed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
One of the fascinating things about the DNC that's not true about the state executive committee is that what you just did, you got to vote in two separate places. We cannot do that. In most states like North Carolina, you got to vote in two capacities, one at the same time as a proxy and as a member.
Yeah, typically you only get one vote, even though you might.
You got more votes than I did. I tell you. but it's not 12:30
Are
yet.
there any ballots left?
I'm gonna get.
Oh, that's right.
So I get Wayne's vote at 12:30.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Then there'll be three of us.
Received a ballot and submitted your ballot.
Yeah, so for people who are coming in late, this is the Saturday general body meeting of the Democratic National Committee. We have a number of things on the agenda, and this is what our agenda looks like here. We're supposed to
Has everyone submitted a ballot?
It isn't going to happen.
Raise your hand if you still not
Maybe
submitted your ballot.
It's possible. Depends on how long it takes
Everyone
them to
submitted their ballot.
vote. You know how long it takes the state executive. Oh, I know. Actually, we've made it. It's gotten better over the years. Especially they started using the machine thing in the back, but even so it's in terms of counting.
Does anyone have any ballots remaining? If so, raise your hand if your ballot has not been collected.
Would you like to say hello to North Carolina?
Hello, North Carolina. I'm Wayne Goodwin, chairman of the state party. We're fighting for Tar Heel values and for a better North Carolina here at the DNC Summer Convention.
Any remaining ballots? Any remaining ballots?
To have a all inclusion, even though I'm a target. We will include student fans, state fans, and we're fighting for their values. Yes, we are.
Balloting is closed.
You spend the majority of your day with guys, our guys. That's the hardest part. Leaving the park.
This is my daughter, Jean. She's gonna start behind me. 11-year-old girl and boys team baseball. She's a very strong, well-known player. That's what girls class manufacturing job. Those go away. There's not much left.
Balloting has now been closed. Again, balloting has now been closed, and they're tabulating the results.
Everybody, like multiple times, you know. It's been real
Full
transparent,
expression.
real
That's
open.
good. We have to have full expression of our views here. Representative democracy at its worst.
I don't think anyone should walk away feeling as if it wasn't heard. Because you really can't say shit. which is happening right now. At this point, people say the same thing over and over.
How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing, lady? You
Good,
good?
good, good.
This ain't gonna end well. This ain't gonna end.
Yeah, this is going to be a long day.
It's gonna be a very long day.
Bernie had one big in our state to have some Bernie DNC members because our grassroots base is telling us we need some reform. And the idea is that you know what?
Oh, yes. Yay. Back here at the back. Here at the back of the room. Yes. Tell me if you like that. Yes, and so this is Charlie from
Yes.
Alabama.
Alabama, sweet home Alabama.
So where about in Alabama?
Mobile.
Mobile.
Well, actually, just a
Okay.
few miles south of Mobile.
Okay, I
Theodore,
can't say that
Alabama.
I've been to Alabama yet, you know?
Really, what's the holdup?
I don't know.
What's taking you so long? You need to get down there in
Obviously.
February, January.
You guys need to have a meeting
we
down
got
there
Mardi
for us.
Gras. The Black Caucus is meeting in Birmingham.
I heard that.
Yeah, are you
October,
coming?
right?
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we'll be there. Get down to Mardi Gras in Mobile.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting for the results that are being tallied now, I want to do a special shout out, and I also want you to turn your attention to the screen. Martha Lane, who is the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, and our digital team helped to produce this next video, which is extremely impactful for all of the amazing work that is happening right now in the great state of Wisconsin. So let's turn our attention to the screen as we see the video.
Seriously, when I got this job in 1997, I honestly felt like I won the lottery.
caught us all off guard.
I'm not sure it's quite so bad. All you need is some jobs that you got. You got hired, or Brad is getting hired. Doing the job to say that to somebody.
This administration, our allegiance will be to the American workers and the American businesses, like our leaders.
Tax reform can put American manufacturers and American companies like Harley-Davidson on a much better footing and keep jobs here in America.
Harley-Davidson is cutting jobs and repurchasing shares after last year's tax overhaul.
Harley soon announced a nearly $700 million stock buyback plan to reward shareholders.
800 workers in the Harley-Davidson plant are now out of a job after learning the plant was closing.
A lot of these corporations are not concerned with it. And it's all about showing as much money in their pockets. This guy, even plants, they are showing plants. I don't know if I'm not surprised. Like, living with now I'm finding something else. Hopefully it pays for living.
They got a lot of good cash. That cash. This is by large amounts of their own stock. Someday would, in fact, they would have
Others who have to read the work. Nearing retirement, but not quite there. Ready, what it might be like. They don't know what
Been there 21 years. It's terrible. There's people up there that are really sick. What's going to happen?
So for those who have just tuned in, we're actually waiting on some ballots to be counted. So that's why you don't really see anything going on right now. Jamie Harrison of North Carolina, of South Carolina, had just shared a video. And so now we're back to waiting for the ballots to be counted. In the meantime, This is Aisha Dew. She's from Charlotte, North Carolina. Of course, our party chair, Wayne Goodwin.
How are you? Go North Carolina.
And then, of course, the famous Cliff.
Oh, and did you say infamous?
I said famous.
Oh, I thought you meant infamous.
I said famous.
Hi, North
Well, it's sort of
Carolina.
like sometimes bad means good, like that's bad, or sometimes sick means good.
I know,
Famous may mean
right?
infamous.
Or infamous may be famous.
Yeah.
I'm too old to like get those right, so I have to go with the real meaning of words.
Real meaning that's the safest way to go.
But it has many connotations, so you know, all words do.
Like full participation.
Very important word. Full participation. We do this for you, North Carolina.
Say that again.
We do this for you. We do our best.
But we can do it.
I think it's because they're counting votes. And they ran the thing, you know, the video, and that was it, Al.
Yeah, they ran the video.
Which nobody made. Unfortunately, it's a good video.
Yeah, it was a good video. And we're still waiting, people. We're waiting for votes to be counted. Those of you who are just joining me, we're waiting for votes to be counted, so we're sort of taking a little bit of a break right now.
not pass because of that one little thing.
And what else? So for
What's up, lady?
someone like you,
I like live.
who sees things on the ground.
This is Michael Blake from New York.
What up? Everybody, it's with Sheila. What up?
Hey, Val from Cleveland, Ohio.
You got Lorna.
Lorna from California, from the DNC. And Lorna's with our executive committee member.
And we're doing real work. We are actually having real discussions around issues that do matter. And I appreciate the fact that we're here and we're able to have this conversation whether we agree or disagree. The point is we're at least having conversations about it. And that's what's important and that's what counts.
Taking to the streets for the cause of equal rights. Because every American deserves basic fairness, no matter an individual's gender, faith, race, who they are, who they love. We're the party of unity and water. We're never going to stop fighting to protect the world and the world. We're the party of kindness and gun violence. As the second deputy of God, Democrats are
In my own city, I led a study of the impact of
not
farming on the
politicians,
urban economy
in charge of their own lives. We're the party of Medicare.
Farmland is what you plow over and build
The health and well-being of Americans. Please stop passing LUJ.
We changed that.
Generations later,
We changed it by studying it, and we changed it by introducing a zoning category where instead of agricultural holding, it's what it's called. We have ag holding, and public benefit districts, so there are different ways of sequestering and planning farmland that are intentional. Not all farmland needs to be a
we know in our hearts, earth, water, day by day, anyway. The Democrats know that we should strive for living in healthy country that grows patience, creates equitable jobs, and supports our social justice. We know from our history how that
We're still taking a break from counting the ballots, and so it's taking a bit of time. Hi, Emmanuel Roberts, you up here hanging out, watching what's going on. We're at the summer meeting of the Democratic National Committee in Chicago. Today we're going to be voting on a number of reforms and changes that we would like to make in the party. So we're here, we're getting down to work. I think we're going to be here for a while. And it takes a lot of tech support to be able to pull this off. Look at these guys here, ready to go, mic'd up, equipment functioning. Yeah.
Hey Marvin, can I get that line? Can I get that line? Yeah, but we can.
Good job. Good job.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Awesome. ballot counting process will go just a little bit faster. What time is the flight? It's going to be at 2. Oh, yeah, mine doesn't. Well, actually, yeah.
You got a little time.
I will be here until the very end today.
Actually, they designed this so that the people would rush through and vote. And then they had planned, they had put Maxine Waters and Jesse Jackson after the vote so they could win the vote. Because if they came and spoke in favor of the vote, then they would sway us not to vote, which neither one of them would do. So, after the vote. See, the whole thing is crooked. The whole thing is set up crooked. So they and from my understanding, money and affairs changed hands. Party chairs have been called and coerced. And Donovan Steele said the young Democrat will promise $50,000. He said that yesterday on the phone. So you got all that stuff going on. And then that little flyer let the cat out the sack that the Hispanic caucus, as well as some of the labor caucus, and that they showed 50%, which we knew that, of the delegates were people of color, and the Republican Party only had 6%. And they had that at the bottom of the flyer. So that's the only thing they're worried about is black representation. So they're going to kick us out to get them in. It really don't make any sense. And really a conscious black person really just thinking is not going to vote for anything. And it's not a major thing, but it's the way they operate. If they take one thing, it's a matter of put against something else. We got their list go down with a fight. Got to go down and kick it and scream it, and we do go down. Claude McKay said, if I must die, let me die nobly, not hunted and dead in an inglorious spot. After Dennis O'Haim and all that, how we fought so hard for the Voting Rights Act. And we fought to be represented. They didn't give us that because we were so good looking. And then Tim, we are. And then Tim Kaine get on that talking about liberty and justice for all. Heck, in America, it's never been liberty and justice for all, just liberty and justice for white folks. Some white folks like that, some of them been fools like they had liberty and justice. But it's never been no liberty and justice for us.
Yeah, I was actually at the Women's Caucus yesterday, and we said the Pledge of Allegiance, and you know, when you get to the end, you say liberty and justice for all. There were a few women behind me, and they added the words someday at the end. And I was just sort of like, oh, I hadn't heard that word. But they were just like, yeah, because they understand that everybody in this country does not get the same level of justice.
Some white women are waking up. That's been one of the fears that we were creating an alliance, but you know, like during the period of Reconstruction and even before, Frederick Douglass and Harry Truman started working with the women's suffrage. That was really threatening. Even Sojourner Truth, all of them working with the suffrage.
Democrats are in good trouble. Season Way, Selma, Stonewall. We've taken the streets for the positive influence because every American deserves influence, no matter any gender, faith, race, who they are, who they love. We're the party of unfair and love. We're never going to separate to protect all of the Americans. We're the party of common sense and violence. This epidemic has got to end. Democrats are the party of because women, not politicians, should be in charge of their own lives. We're the party of Americans. Let's stop the rest of the generations
For those of you who are just joining, this is the DNC summer meeting in Chicago. We just finished voting in regards to whether or not we support the chair's position that there is no change needed in the charter in order to be able to vote on the changes for the unpledged delegates. So we're waiting for those ballots to be counted, and we're taking a little break while we wait.
But that's the thing, you need some, and then we still have in some ways that within the covering the lines there, but I did it first. There is a provision. We didn't use it last
Again, we are still waiting for them to finish counting the ballots. Maybe they're just about done. I see Jamie heading toward the mic. Maybe not. He's walking away from the mic. So maybe no. And I'm just about out of food. We have a little bit of Aretha. Hey, how are you doing? A little bit of Aretha playing in the background. How are you doing?
I'm
You
good.
look
How are
good
you?
today.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
No, you're fine. No,
Because it was a very last minute.
What's what were in their pockets? I mean, you know.
What happens when I run out of food?
What happens when you run out of food?
Yeah.
I didn't know you ate anyway.
I do actually eat, you know. Aisha and I were having a conversation about the pastries and how we weren't doing that. So I used to eat yogurt, and now I've gone for my snack, and yeah.
But we'll get you more if you need it. Otherwise, you can run for your food.
I can run for my food. All right, so we have a few people watching. And yes, we're at the DNC meeting in
in Chicago. We are waiting for the ballots to be counted still. I know you're like, Sheila, you've said that 10 times already.
I don't ever hear a report of the Individuals Committee either. We don't even know how many people are here to vote. See? You guys are the top of doing that, aren't you? That's you leadership people are doing I got you, man. You're one of the elites. You're one of those guys. You're one of those elites. I'm counting it. Hey, I'm not an elite. You know, I got credit cards. Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's nothing elite. It's nothing elite about this. No, I didn't Monday, I gotta go back to work. The elite. Yeah. I said you were a leader. Everybody that's voted for it.
Last time I saw her, she was that way.
What does she look like?
So she has, like, her hair is sort of like mine, but it's more twisty.
Okay.
She has on a black dress with sort of white pipe.
Black dress, white pipe. Okay. If you see her, will you tell her Jessica from Wyoming is looking for her, and I've got this big pink sweater?
Oh no, it's gonna be a small light.
Part of the job, people giving directions to people about how to run. Well, Don, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your comments. Since you've spoken, we're very clear on where you stand on today's vote.
He has made his arguments on several occasions now, and well.
Yes, he has.
It's better to win than to make good arguments, though.
I don't know. Some of the great things in the world are the dissent. You know, some of the greatest. I think even Scalia said that he liked, you know, that his dissents may be more important in the future. They often are, so you never know. Yeah, Roger Taney won back in 1856, but he wasn't on the right.
I did. Yeah, this is a pretty long break. Yeah, it is. When are you going there? Really? Yeah, we're going to the place tonight. And tomorrow, because we got a lot of that kind of Did he leave? I'm sorry. Did she know? Yeah.
Oh, these are the Bronco here.
How did North Carolina vote? No? Or was it split? I don't know. I didn't really look. We could invest in some software and make this a lot quicker, I dance so much better than you. I just put break is way too long. They're
Folks,
counting
we'll
down.
reconvene in 5 minutes.
Oh, we're reconvening in 5 minutes. Oh, now we're really happy.
This is fun.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves. I'm like, go.
Right. We got 5 minutes before we get serious.
You stopped dancing. You stopped moving. You look like you were...
Me? I'm one of the few black folks that can't dance, can't sing, or any of that. That's right. I know, see how you frown up.
No, this is a puzzle book.
I don't care a night. I just care how you fit. I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
You're taking me serious.
only one way to love, only one way to look, and only one way to live? Or will we be a nation where everyone has the freedom to live openly and equally?
Because it's super delegate has so much power.
No matter who they are or who they love. Our progress is inspired by some of history's fiercest leaders, individuals who shortened the distance between what was inconceivable for some to what was inevitable for generations that would follow. From Selma to Stonewall, we've taken to the streets for the cause of equal rights. We're the party of dreamers and believers who were never going to stop fighting for a better future. Our work is inspired by heroes who have turned pain into perseverance in their efforts to build a world where kids where the best way to be anything is to be themselves. We carry with us the steadfast spirit of legislators and advocates who first championed bills like the Ryan White Care Act, a law that provides life-saving treatment to Americans living with HIV and AIDS. We fought for the Affordable Care Act to address discrimination and coverage denials that left many in our community, particularly transgender people of color, with nowhere to turn. We elected a president who spoke out for our right to marry.
I think same-sex couples should be able to.
He wasn't shy about showing the world he has our backs. We've made great strides in achieving the full promise of our nation's freedom, that all of us are created equal. But you know what? We're still not. Trump and Republican leaders are actively trying to reverse our progress. We've got an Attorney General who is tasked with enforcing the National Child Crime Prevention Act, who is obsessed with computing during this time of Congress.
How's Nevada going?
Our Republican opponents are fighting to prevent classified transgender troops from serving the country. They are literally trying to deny that.
There's an I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Nevada.
Hate, division, Democrats are working around the clock to elect leaders who are ready to fight like hell for LGBT freedom. That's why we need you to make your voice heard at the ballot box. Listen to them. Let's keep fighting.
And I grew up in California, so I should know how to say it.
Yeah. You want to pronounce it like with the Spanish accent. It's not
Like a U name? Are you?
I don't think so.
Yep, what's not to love about the Jackson 5, right? You can't help but love it.
When I grew up, they were just right across the way there.
Okay.
I grew up in
So
Chicago.
you grew up, oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Right over there in Indiana.
Yeah, so that's way closer for you than it is for me. I'm all the way in North Carolina.
What part of North Carolina?
Durham, so more the central part of the state.
Are you a DNC member? You're DNC members?
Yep, DNC member.
How many do they have from North Carolina?
So me, John Verdejo, Clip Moon, Aisha Dew, Dee Dee Adams, who's on the city council.
How many DNC members? You got 5.
And Ray, who's from
And
Charlotte.
then you got, and then in addition to that, you got your
Diane, and then we've got and we've got our state chair, Wayne W. and people like
We're Alaska. We just have, we've got 3.
2 DNC.
Yeah, but,
oh, okay.
yeah, but we've got more than that. How many delegates do we have?
What's her name from Wyoming that spoke? Sorry, guys. What's her name from Wyoming that spoke yesterday. She's looking for you. She's got on like a pink kind of pullover. All right, how's it going?
It's going well. Hey, North Carolina, your brothers and sisters from Texas.
What part need you to vote for us?
Dallas.
Houston. Oh, Texas, Houston.
We hope to see you in Houston for the Democratic National Convention.
Houston put on a really great party the other night.
They sure did.
Thank you, Houston.
It's going to be an even better
hey,
one
you
in
guys
2020.
yeah, I mean, you guys got the signs up. You decorated the escalator. Like, who decorates
Everything
an
is
escalator?
bigger in Texas. And it doesn't get any bigger than Houston.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
guess
You
what?
have the
The
floor thing too.
Yeah, we had the coffee stuff and everything.
That's right. Are they on here?
Oh no, not on this. They were
I didn't know what those were.
the hotel.
Yeah.
Houston.
Oh.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's get that again. I didn't even catch that.
We leave no
Oh my
stone
gosh, they
unturned.
really went way out. That's Texas. Texas, where they where you know the motto is go big or go home. I gotta come over here.
Hello.
What a cutie. We love having like little ones here.
Youngest member. How are you?
And I'm here that doesn't matter if you're right. But I think we are right. I think we are right that the argument about super delegates is nonsense. However, about the Democratic Party voted against reform and they're going to still really be trying to elect. I think we're going to but he was going to vote for it. I think we're going to
it going for you today?
Going great.
Did you bring snacks?
I did.
Yeah. Mine are gone. Okay, tell me your name again.
Atticus. That's not.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah. How's it going? You never got? Let's go over and get one. Yeah, these are the little special
See you.
Go ahead.
They're going to leave and make sure I can do
Yeah,
my
so you,
Uber.
okay. Yeah, you better be able to get your Uber, yeah.
Uh-oh. What time is Uber coming?
I don't know, but he has to leave at 11:50. He said 3. There
I just want to give you an update. The reason there's been a little bit of delay is we have so many proxies, and we want to not double check, but triple check, because Democrats believe that accuracy counts. And so that's what we are doing right now. And I just wanted to make sure I shared with you everything I knew.
That means a limousine. Maybe that means a limousine. Oh, check it again. Yeah, right.
I need you to do me a favor.
Oh, yes.
And my phone is dead, and I want to take a picture with Max.
Oh, okay.
To add to my other pictures that I have with her.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll give you my number so you can text it to me. This way you would have it anyway.
Right in, yes, right. That's right. Oh, God.
Turn around.
I only charge 5 cents a photo.
That's a good price. That's a good price.
That's right.
She says she charged.
I'm just charging 5 cents a photo. 5 cents a photo.
That's bargain basement price, sister.
There you go.
She don't need that. She's gonna like it. Really?
That's why you go to the room. They're going to take a break and I'll stop this and just And we're back. We were taking a picture for a friend with Auntie Max. Oh, awesome. The first.
So you can read more about the different
All right, so tell people, I heard you yesterday at the Women's Council. So I'm from North Carolina.
Okay.
But I wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, I'm Lauren Underwood, running
running for Congress in the Illinois 14th District. We're here at the DNC. We've come to Chicago and talking about how Democrats can win in 2018. Grateful to be in the room. Grateful for all that you're doing. Do not stop. 73 days. This is when we win. So the time for slacking is over. Let's lace up our shoes. Own our cul-de-sac. That's what I tell my folks at home. And do the work. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Florida has a very
I do a little yoga.
This is only delegate selection. It's going to come today.
How's it going? Seeing you guys again. My hands are cold, I know. How are you doing?
Doing well.
You made it through last night, I see.
I did. One piece.
What time did you get in?
I got in a little early because I went 2 minutes, so I like jetted on back to the hotel. Probably like,
I got you. I hear you. Yeah, I think we got in, I guess around 1:30 or so.
Oh man, are you serious?
Yeah, and then I got up and went for my run this morning.
God bless you.
I see why you look so good.
Well, you know what? So who's not who's not going to take advantage of running, you know, right along Lake Michigan? I mean, you know, it's like
So
really nice.
beautiful. And there's
So
a lot going on today.
I know there was some sort of race or something. Yeah. Oh, okay.
They diverted the traffic because my normal route to get in here this morning, I had to take a detour.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, because when I was coming back, when I was going out, once I got down by the lake, they were actually setting up. And there were way more runners out today than there were yesterday when I ran.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Now tell me who you are, Sheila.
I'm with North Carolina, so I'm a member of the North Carolina delegation. Yes.
You got a race down there that's going strong, right? What's her name?
So Dee Dee, yes. Dee Dee Adams is running for Congress.
I have a very, very good friend.
Who's your friend?
Who now lives in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
And she's very active in Neighbors on Call.
Okay.
Which is like a grassroots
Yeah.
response.
What's her name?
Her name is Carol Labram.
Okay.
And her partner's name is Jim. They have a son. And they hosted me in 2016 when I flew out from California to do Protect the Vote.
Gotcha.
Flew out November 1.
All right. Well,
And they put me
Carol,
up.
here's your friend. What's your name?
Michael Duran from California.
Michael from California. I will have to tag her on Facebook.
She's totally on Facebook. I no longer.
Oh,
am.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool then.
You all working to win that race?
I'm sorry?
You all working to win that race?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
She said it was like 7%. It was a 7%.
Yeah. I think the race is a little closer than they, you know. I mean, it was not necessarily a Democratic district, but she's been working in that area for a long time. So
Waking them up, waking up the voters. So that's good. That's good.
That's key. I mean, 100 million people did not vote in 2016 who could have voted. 100 million.
that's a lot of people that didn't vote.
But I want to share with you, living here in Chicago, living in a state where we boast that we have the highest number of black elected officials in the state of New York. I actually had people on my Facebook page to say, oh, I didn't know that the Democrats was having a convention here. Why didn't they, this is disrespectful to the city, why didn't they let people know?
Love this shirt.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't find out in each of them, and they were like little stair steps. They were so excited. All their parents, they've all been doing like love.
And of course, in case you don't like my version of it, there's always C-SPAN.
I know, I don't know what you're joking me.
After you've been in this room, there's a popular like I like it. What's yours? Oh, I like that.
We're women. God, he gets to add and get nothing to present.
I don't care if the precinct county is staying with everybody. You've got to do this. You've got to vote against them. How you do it.
Man, I've been trying to text you, but I have like zero service.
That's okay. So I just know that.
Oh, did it? Oh, the names, yeah. I pushed it. I didn't mention it yesterday. Just in the caucus? Yeah.
All right, you've released the video. Is that what you mean? Wayne Goodwin reacted to something?
I tagged him. It just popped up. It said, do you want to doctrine. Hi, Wayne.
Yeah, Charles. Yeah, he's the guy that everybody. Yeah, like basically just, added, quarantine, to the red book, everything else.
Okay, we might be getting ready to start. Okay, maybe not. I think that was changing the music.
Please take your seats. I apologize for the delay.
All right, we're starting back up.
We wanted to make sure again that we had properly looked at all of the proxies, that they were properly instructed, and that took longer than we thought. We will do our best to make sure that doesn't take longer in the future. So here is the vote on the motion that was the motion at hand. There were 329.5 yes votes, 106.5 no votes, 4 abstentions. So the motion to uphold the ruling of the chair passes. That's roughly, for your information, that's roughly 75% of the vote. So that's where we are. We'll now move to the next item. I recognize Craig Smith from Florida.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. In order to get this show on the road, I move, echoing the comments made by Chairman Fowler, Karen Carter-Peterson, Gilda Hunter, and others, I move to strike Article 9, Section C, Subsection 7, Paragraph B and C of the call to the convention, which are the provisions that restrict the voting rights of automatic delegates.
It's been moved and seconded. This is the, it's been moved and seconded that on, I think, page 19 of the call, if I'm not mistaken, we strike lines, I think it would be lines 7 through 26. And this is the provision in Article 9 of the procedural rules which affects the vote of automatic delegates on the first ballot of the presidential roll call. Further, if this amendment is adopted, the balance of Section 7 entitled roll call for presidential candidate would be renumbered. Those of you who are in favor of the call as proposed by the Rules and Bylaws Committee would vote no. Those of you who are opposed to the proposal recommended by the Rules and Bylaws Committee would vote yes. And so let me describe this in plain, a yes vote would strike the superdelegate proposals that were put forth by the Rules and Bylaws Committee. A no vote would retain the superdelegate proposals that were adopted by the Rules and Bylaws Committee. So this is again a motion to strike out from the report the language from the Rules and Bylaws Committee proposed call to the convention pertaining to superdelegate reform. Those of you who, like me, are in favor of the proposal from the Rules and Bylaws Committee should vote no. Those who are opposed to the changes regarding the superdelegates should vote yes. This motion is debatable, and those of you who wish to speak in favor of this motion, you can move to one side of the microphone. Those who wish to speak in opposition, you can move to the other side. We had a lengthy debate on this yesterday, but I do not want to impinge the right of anyone, understanding that many of you have a plane to catch.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I call the question.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we can call the question. It was there a second? This requires 2/3 vote, so Madam Parliamentarian, I want to make sure I follow all of the proper protocols in this.
Judging from the crowd reaction, I think if you take a standing vote, you'll be able to tell whether it's 2/3.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Just to make sure that we know exactly what we're voting for, would you please restate the motion? The motion is to strike lines 7 through 26?
No. It has been moved and seconded that on page 19 of the call, we strike lines 7 through 26. This is the provision in Article 9 in the procedural rules which affects the vote of automatic delegates on the first ballot of the presidential roll call. Further, if this amendment is adopted, the balance of Section 7 entitled Roll Call for Presidential Candidates would be renumbered. So again, this is a motion to strike in plain English from the report, the language from the RBC proposed call to the convention pertaining to superdelegate reform. Those of you who, like myself, are in favor of the RBC proposals, which embody those in favor of the RBC proposals should vote no. Those who are opposed to the changes regarding superdelegates should vote yes. Okay, and now there has been moved and seconded to call the question, to close debate?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, stand if you motion to close the debate. All in favor, please stand. If you have a proxy, please raise 2 hands. Madam, okay, all those opposed, please stand. I would observe, as the parliamentarian just said, that this is overwhelming support to close debate and call the question. Again, in the spirit of transparency, I think it is really important that we have a paper ballot. I will commit to making sure that we count it, and I know that folks want to get out of here, but there's a lot at stake. And I want to make sure that we are vigilant and we move forward. And what I would suggest is after you vote, and while the votes are being counted, we're going to do other DNC business. Yeah. We have the next member of Congress from one of the Illinois, Chicago ring suburbs, Lauren Underwood, is here. She's in the House. We're going to hear from her. We have some other business to do, and while we do that, they will count votes. That's called multitasking. So please hand out the votes again. The ballots. Those of you who, like me, are in favor of the proposal from the RBC should vote no. Those who are opposed to the change regarding superdelegate status should vote yes. Please pass the ballot test. Turn the mic on, please. Yes, Alice.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a little bit of humor in all this process. We have lost, so you want to count it again to put a dagger in my heart, but that's okay. But don't we have super delegates here? The ones of us got elected and the ones that you appointed? Maybe they should pass on the first ballot. Just that.
Thank you. Okay, please pass out the ballot so that we can get voting. And once the votes have been cast, we will go to our next speaker.
I don't think he laughed. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, we got consensus on that one. Yeah, we all got together.
like how they're walking fast.
Look at how people walk fast.
Oh, yes. We're getting the ballots. Coming in to pass ballots.
Yeah, look. You gotta hold up your yellow arm.
We're getting our ballots passed out. We've got ballots for members and then ballots for members and proxies. I think I lost my pen.
Oh, really? Your pen? Your pen? There you go.
Yeah, but
I don't need it. I don't need it. You think you put it in your food?
I think I ate it.
You know, if you clean up your mess.
I know. Oh my God. Like, yeah, what a mess. I mean, this is just like not cool. And here come the ballots. Here's ballot number 1. This is the proxy ballot.
You gotta get your other ballot.
Once again, a reminder, please sign your ballot. Please sign your ballot. And again, another reminder, those of you who, like me, are in favor of the proposal should vote no. Those who are opposed to the changes regarding superdelegates should vote yes.
Yeah, we need more ballot.
Oh, yeah, ballot.
The chair.
And it's right here. You can start
One
with
more
her.
point to make sure you know, if you have been given a proxy by someone because they thought they weren't coming, and they are here, please
He's
do
sitting
not
right
vote
here.
that
I'm
proxy.
sitting in one. He's good.
It makes for a much longer counting process, and we don't want that.
How do they do that? They know it's coming, I guess.
I mean, hold on. Okay.
All right, so oppose equals yes, right?
Thank you.
Oppose equals
Proxy,
yes.
please.
If you,
Are you done voting?
No, she's
Oppose
almost
equals yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Opposed is vote yes. That's correct. Thank you. No, you can't put the green the pink.
Yeah, I'll collect those. Someone else come by and collect those. Thank you.
Whatever you need.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I
Pleasure meeting you, my brother.
I'm sorry?
There are no secret ballots in the Democratic Party. You really don't need to fold them.
I think we ought to have it because
Pull that up and maybe somebody will come and get it.
Just come by to grab them.
Proxies?
There you go. It's really got you in their pocket. I'm just meant to be. See, that leads me to think that probably most people will vote. Most of the vote will be very similar to the last one. Now, there may have been some people who did not do it, and I debated that. That's why I like to hear it today. Not to get where the benefits should be listed. You have that argument. That's not what that meeting was necessarily. I agree. I don't disagree that I should
Show of hands. Has everybody given your vote and or your ballot? Have you handed over your ballot? If you haven't, raise your hand, please. Okay, so not quite done yet. Our team, you guys see the folks who have their hands up? You're going to grab their ballots? There's a few more. Please keep your hand up. This is sort of like the morning exercise. See some more over. There's a couple over there.
There was a guy from Connecticut.
Had a great time. Yes, it was good. I love your dress today too. Thank you.
Otherwise, I'm just real big on the fact that we represent a new political. I was almost waiting with you guys on the charter almost because of a couple of things, and she pulled me back and pulled the wording and pulled the.
If you have any more ballots, please raise your hand. If you have a ballot that needs to be turned in, please raise your hand.
She got me on a lawyer, but I was really there, yeah, because.
Okay, so they are now telling the ballots.
The DNC
And as I said, we're going to multitask. So we're going to hear shortly from.
They're not going to talk to the subject matter.
We're not going to go through other than that. Tom, maybe.
Tom.
There
Defeated
is
Tom.
a
We've been
little,
pushing this for
I
how
think there's a
long?
video we're playing. Is that right?
I don't want the headline.
One more?
No, I understand.
I don't want that. You may be right. You may be right.
If you could play the video, whoever is
You guys are right.
at the helm. We're waiting.
You guys are right.
Those primary elections, women winning big. This year's elections are shaping up to be political history for women.
Tuesday was a historic night for female candidates, and the numbers are only going to go higher. Victory. This is the number of women nominees will be running for the House to at least Rashida Tlaib won the primary for Michigan's 13th congressional district.
About 2/3 of the races, Democratic primaries, this year, where there has not been an incumbent and there's been a woman running against a man, the woman has won.
History is being made in Georgia. Stacey Abrams won the Democratic primary for governor, making her the nation's first black woman to lead a major party's ticket for governor.
I hope that you will all join us in our fight for the future.
It's just amazing what women are doing. They feel this so deeply. In a lot of ways, this is a response to Trump. Women are stepping up.
About time y'all had 119 years coming.
I know, right?
100 years, come on.
Yeah, we're taking over.
Yeah, I think for the Democrats in 2018, it sure looks that way.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to introduce my future colleague, Lauren Underwood, a nurse from Naperville who is stepping forward to run for Congress to represent Illinois' 14th district. She is committed to fighting for families and believes that strong jobs, smart investments, and access to affordable health care will put our region back on track. When she is elected, she will join a Congress that is less than 20% female, a body where only 67 women of color have ever served in the history of the United States. Please do what you can to help her, and please join me in welcoming our next Congresswoman, Lauren Underwood.
Vice Chair Michael Blake and Mr. Harrison and all our friends up here. I'm so delighted to be here with you this morning. My name is Lauren Underwood. I'm a 31-year-old registered nurse from Naperville. 45 minutes west of where we are right now. And I spent my career working to expand healthcare coverage in communities across our country. First by working to implement the Affordable Care Act at the federal level, worked on private insurance reform and healthcare quality in the Medicare program, preventive services. And then joined the Obama administration and worked in public health emergencies and disasters. Things like Ebola and Zika and the water crisis in Flint. And it was during our time in Flint that the 2016 election happened, and I thought that we were going to have the opportunity to hand off our work on health reform and hand off our work on Flint to a team that cared. And instead, we got the Trump team who made it immediately clear that they wanted to take away health care coverage from the American people. And I just knew I could not stand by and help them do that. So I returned home to the great state of Illinois, a state that expanded Medicaid under the ACA and began working in that space when I found myself at my representative's one and only public event of 2017. It was a moderated question and answer session hosted by our local chapter of the League of Women Voters, and that night he made a promise. He said he was only going to support a version of Obamacare repeal that let people with pre-existing conditions keep their health care coverage. And as a nurse, that kind of promise was so important to me because I'm taking care of patients who rely on affordable coverage to get access to their medications and procedures in order to manage their chronic illness. I've worked to implement the Affordable Care Act, and I know that we can fix what doesn't work. And like so many Americans, I have a pre-existing condition myself. It's a heart condition and it's well controlled, but it's one of these diagnoses where I wouldn't be able to get coverage myself under the repeal scenarios. So when Randy Holgren made that promise, I believed him because it was personal. And then he went and voted for the American Health Care Act, the version of repeal that did the opposite, made it cost prohibitive for people like me to be able to get coverage. And I was upset because I think that representatives should be transparent and honest about their votes. They should be accessible to the community. And they ultimately need to know that they're accountable to us, the voters. And so he didn't seem to recognize that, so I decided, you know what? It's on, I'm running. And I launched the campaign a year ago, in August, ended up running in a crowded Democratic primary primary. I beat 6 guys, got 57% of the vote. And I'm now running against our Tea Party Republican opponent directly. And listen, we're giving him a run for his money. We've outraised him for 2 consecutive quarters. We have 73 days left until November 6th, and we are going to win this race. And we are going to restore the real representation that families across Northern Illinois deserve. But I know I'm in a room with Democrats. And as Democrats, we are not afraid to lace up our shoelaces and knock on the doors and make the phone calls. And we are relentless, right? Because we know what's at stake. We know what's at stake in this election. And I know I'm not the only first-time candidate. And I know I'm not the only woman who marched in the Women's March and decided to run for Congress. But I know that we together will be able to be a force across this nation. And we will not only flip the House, I think we can get the Senate. I think we can get some more governorship. I think that we can win these state legislatures, and we can do it by working together. So grateful to be here with you. Thank you for all that you're doing to support candidates like me. Appreciate it.
Congress.com, and I think she'd accept a little help. So she didn't say it, but I will. And I will tell you one more story. About 5 weeks ago, I was with J.B. Pritzker, the next governor of the great state of Illinois, and the 2 of us went out to Lawrence District. And the thing I remember is it was a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon. It was about 4 o'clock, and I'm thinking to myself, how do you get people out at 4 in the afternoon? No, they're working. They're picking up their kids from school. And my memo said, oh, we should expect 100 to 150 people at this rally. We had almost 400 people there, and it wasn't because of me or JB. It was because of her. That's the energy there, folks. We can win everywhere. I saw it firsthand, and we're proud to have supported Lauren. She spoke at our Women's Leadership Forum, our 25th anniversary down in Atlanta. She is a superstar. And that's why we're all so proud of you today, and we are going to make sure that win continues to be at your back. So thank you for joining us, Lauren. Underwoodforcongress.com. Chairman Fowler.
Mr. Chairman, while I personally oppose the decisions that we have made in this body with respect to the change in rules, I think that the body has spoken, and I move that we suspend the rules and vote for, by acclamation, the main motion, which is to adopt the rules as presented by the Rules and Bylaws.
We have a second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a motion on the floor that has not been determined. There's a vote on the motion that was previously done.
Okay, our parliamentarian, I was asking the question, how does this affect the counting that is taking place now? And she informs me that what we would need to do to move forward would be to suspend that counting, but to make that vote by voice so that it would be recorded in the record that we had added, we had addressed that. So, Mr. Owen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I rise to second Chairman Fowler's motion. And to incorporate the recommendation from the parliamentarian into that motion, that the count be suspended for the motion that is currently under count, under the rule, whatever we're counting. That be suspended, that be part of the motion from Chairman Fowler.
First of all, thank you for your motion. What I think that would be is then it would be a no by acclamation on the vote that is being currently counted in the, as we speak.
We said we were just suspending that count.
Right, but as I understand from the parliamentarian, we need to maintain a record of the resolution of that. And if we were to suspend it without recording through a voice vote that it was a voice vote of no, then that could be problematic.
I defer to the parliamentarian.
Here's what I'm recommending to you and what the chair is articulating to you. Mr. Fowler's motion to suspend with Mr. Owens' modifications is a motion to suspend the rules. You're going to have to carry that by 2/3. If you carry it, your next vote will be to suspend the current counting, which needs to be an affirmative vote. Your vote beyond that one, suspend the count and vote by voice. The next vote would be the voice vote on what those folk are counting, which is the motion to strike. There, you believe that will come out as a no, so your voice vote should be a no. And then Mr. Fowler wished to go on and do the balance of the voting by voice for the remainder of what you have to do to complete your business. So you would then start taking up, once you handle the motion that's being counted, the pending motion is the adoption of the call and the rules as recommended by the RBC.
So moved.
Second? Second. So what I learned about growing up is what she just said.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
After the vote, I request to be recognized for 60 or for 30 seconds to make
Absolutely. Absolutely. Else.
I am for facilitating this, and we know the significance of the House. We can feel it. But as an NAACP leader, I have to vote no. And I need my vote tallied no on everything, and Maxine's as well.
Okay.
So I don't know how you do that with acclamation, but I'm not trying to delay this. I just have a little integrity, and I have to go home.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Hoffman. And if you would like for the minutes to reflect that the vote was a certain way and that you wished to be recorded as a negative vote or the opposite to what carries, I believe that no one would object to your request to, is it your vote and Ms. Ward's vote?
Yes.
Congressman Ward? Okay.
Yes, because she didn't leave me any other instructions, so.
Very well.
So thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Please record my vote and
Okay. Thank you. Without objection. Okay, the first vote is the motion to suspend, which needs 2/3 in the affirmative. The easiest way to do this is to, all those in favor of the motion to suspend, please stand if you can and raise your hand if you are unable to. All those,
You're in favor.
and proxies, 2 hands, thank you. All those opposed, please stand. It appears that the motion carries overwhelmingly. The second motion is the motion to suspend the counting that is currently going on. Again, a 2/3 requirement. I would ask all those in favor to please stand, and if you have a proxy, please raise both your hands. Yeah. I'm not touching that one, Bill. All opposed, please seat it. All opposed, please stand.
I'm confused. I'm sorry. Point of order. Because we just vote. You're going. This is my problem. Okay. You're going way too quickly. Some people left because votes are already being counted, and you just did two different things. I thought we were voting on one thing. So what are we opposed and you're going fast?
We are voting.
What was the first thing we just voted on?
We voted to suspend the rules.
It's your responsibility.
Your first vote, the one that is fully completed, was on Mr. Fowler's motion to suspend the rules and do certain things. So that was adopted. You are now voting to do the certain things, which were to suspend the count that is going on right now and take that count by a voice vote. So you're going to have to first agree to suspend it, and then you are going to, if you agree to suspend it, you are going to do the vote here by a voice vote, because we need to record what that was. And then you will have exhausted Mr. Fowler's motion to suspend the rules, because we can then go back with your consent to voting by voice vote on the balance of the business.
Which is the committee report. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of clarification. We have a vote that's going to be suspended. I want my vote there counted. I support the motion for acclamation, but I was looking for that vote, to have been recorded. I cast it. Is it still?
As we just did with Alice,
Yeah,
we would absolutely make sure the record reflects your opposition to whatever you believe.
On the vote that's currently being counted, I still want that vote counted, but I want to be counted in acclamation on the second one. So it's a little
The
different.
minutes will so reflect. Okay, so let us again review. We took half of a vote, I think.
No.
And so we're asking now all opposed to please stand. Okay, so the ayes have it overwhelmingly. Now we have one more. Is this correct? And explain exactly what we are voting on so that there is no confusion.
What the chair just announced was your vote on the motion to suspend the count. We stopped in the middle of it to answer the question of the member in the back, okay? Then he asked for the no vote. There were none, okay? Then this gentleman, so now you are at the point of voting on the proposed amendment, which was the amendment to strike the language. That's what the count is. The amendment to strike the language that affected the vote of the automatic delegates. So at this point, the chair's position is no. The opposition position is yes. Those of you who wish to support the chair will vote no. He will take the yes vote first, and then the no vote.
Okay, all those who believe the vote should be yes, say yes.
Yes.
No? No! The noes overwhelmingly have it. And the motion to strike is not adopted. Now I believe we can move to the adoption of the report from the Rules and Bylaws Committee. That is the final frontier of this journey. It was already moved and seconded, I believe, earlier. Yeah. This is final passage of the entire package of the reforms. The call and the delegate selection. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the Democratic National Committee. In the spirit of unity, and with the indulgence of Reverend Michael Blake and Reverend Randy Kelly and the other religious leaders here, I call your attention to Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel 37, where you're directed to take 2 sticks and write on those 2 sticks the different sides and then rub them together as a sign of unity to bring Judah and Ephraim together. In the book of Matthew, Jesus talks about a house divided cannot stand. In the Quran, I hope this is the right way to say it, but section 3:103, it says, "And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided among yourselves." So, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank everyone for your interest and your overwhelming dedication to the questions that we've had here. I was skeptical of the proposal, but I'm a team player, and the most important thing we can do is elect Democrats this fall. Trying to say this without crying. John Kennedy said, "Let us go forth from here to lead the land we love, asking His blessing, but knowing God's work on here is truly our own." So thank you very much.
Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. The ayes overwhelmingly have it, and the report and charge all adopted.
To the charter and bylaws as proposed by the Rules and Bylaws Committee be approved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. No. The ayes overwhelmingly have it once again. Okay. Folks, you know what? We should never, ever confuse unity and unanimity. We should never, ever be afraid of having a family debate. Y'all heard me say the other day, if you want passionate debate, come to my house at Thanksgiving, because you will get passionate debate. We will talk about issues, not just the Red Sox or the Yankees. I mean, Blake knows who's a better team. We don't need to debate that. But we talk about serious things at that Thanksgiving dinner table, and we've talked about serious things over the last 2 years. We saw the passion in this room. We saw the classiness of people like Don Fowler, Bill Odom, and Alan Clendenin, and Jim Roosevelt, and Lorraine Miller, and Alice Hoffman, and others. And we should never never be afraid of passion, because what is far worse than passion is apathy.
Amen.
A society that loses its sense of moral outrage is doomed to extinction. I heard that from Daniel Patrick Moynihan when I used to sit in the well of the Senate working for Ted Kennedy, my original political mentor. And folks, what we all have in common is we're here to make a difference. We're here to win elections. We're here to win back our democracy as we know it. We're here to make sure that union members have the right to organize. We're here to make sure that women have the right to choose. We're here to make sure that our immigrant brothers and sisters are protected. We're here to make sure that pharmaceutical companies can't continue to gouge you. We're here to make sure that people like Lauren Underwood and others who have pre-existing conditions can get access to health care. We're here to ensure that the Secretary of Education gives a damn about public education. We're here to make sure that the EPA administrator knows climate change. We're here to make sure that hard-working federal workers can have a fair shake. We're here to make sure that in West Virginia, in Washington State, in Wyoming, wherever we are, we compete. We compete every day, folks. That's what we're talking about. We have a wind in our back. We got 73 days till the weekend. And when we organize and when we lead with our values, that's how we win. And today, we demonstrated the values of the Democratic Party. We trust you. We want you to join the party. We will lead with you. We will listen to you. We want you to have a seat at the table. That's what today was about. That's what this journey to form a better party has been about. And when we are united, we are at our best. And we will never shy away from those tough discussions. I think these discussions have made us stronger. And for that, I am grateful to every single solitary person in this room and who has been following this debate. We're going to win in 73 days. We're going to kick butt in 73 days. We're going to send a message across America that this president, we got guardrails. That's what we're doing.
So, hi everyone, I'm Aisha Dew, first vice chair of North Carolina Democratic Party. And I was elected in 2017. My entry back into the party really was with Barack Obama, but I was Bernie state director and I ran when we lost in 2016 because I was so angry I didn't know what to do but to get back involved with the party. And so I knew that we needed to fix something. And the first meeting I attended, I sat beside Don Fowler and I supported Keith. And I got upset and I walked out of the room. And when I came back, Don Fowler said, I thought you weren't coming back. But I'm a party person, so I was gonna come back. And the people in this room are gonna come back. But I wanna say thank you to Don Fowler, to the people that I represent that wouldn't come back unless we did this today. So I'm really very happy that all of the people who are younger than I am, who don't have representation in this room, will now feel like the Democratic Party wants them to come back.
We have two very quick items of business. Let me turn it over to Stuart Applebaum, the Resolutions Committee. Thank you for your hard work and all of the resolutions you brought to bear.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Tom said, I'm Stuart Applebaum. I'm co-chair of the Resolutions Committee. We've spent a lot of time before and during this meeting talking about process. But for me, the highlight of every DNC meeting is the Resolutions Committee report. Because the resolutions tell the country who we are as a party. And as co-chair of the committee, I would like to thank everybody who has been involved in this endeavor. And I would also like to ask you to join me in thanking the DNC staff that have worked so hard on the resolutions for this party. afternoon to consider 33 resolutions, which were a combination of message and commemorative resolutions. What would actually thrill me would be if we read every resolution now, word by word, but I understand we all have copies and we're not going to be doing that at this point. But I want to highlight a few of the resolutions and tell you some of the resolutions that were considered and proposed to the DNC. And they included a resolution to fight for kitchen table issues that matter most. A resolution opposing the cruel immigration policies of the Trump administration. A resolution stressing the importance of cybersecurity and combating foreign interference in American democracy. A resolution supporting efforts in pursuit of 100% Buy American for defense procurement. And commemorative resolutions honoring the life and career of Peg Lautenschlager and honoring the life and career of Vel Phillips. In addition to the resolutions considered by the Resolutions Committee, the Executive Committee adopted resolutions honoring the lives of Leonard Leroy Boswell, Ken Carter, Aretha Franklin, and Armand Fraser. Mr. Chair, it is my honor to move for approval of all these resolutions. Thank you all very much.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes overwhelmingly have it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our last item of business, I think, is a report from the Budget Committee. Who is going to present that? I don't know if it's, is it all three? Okay.
No, never announced it. You're right.
Speaking of winning elections,
on and on and on.
we need money. My name is Henry Munoz. I'm the finance chairman, and I'm the money in.
I'm Bill Dare. I'm the treasurer. I'm the money out.
I'm Lorna Johnson, and I tell them how to spend it.
That's typically how it works. This is what we're up against. This is what the influence of an almost unlimited amount of dark money combined with an unethical presence in the White House looks like. And this is historic information which we promised to you in complete transparency that shows that we have never had to match the RNC dollar for dollar in order to win elections. This is the energy that has been created by the DNC and its leadership, including every single person in this room over the course of the last year, to make sure that we have the financial resources to win, and then win, and then win some more. And I want to take one moment to say thank you to Chairman Bettis who has crisscrossed this country, been in many backyards and living rooms in order to make sure that the energy exists in order to have the resources to win this election. Nobody has worked harder than Tom Perez. And here's the good news. Our major donor fundraising is up. We have raised more in 2018 up to this point than we raised in the entire period of 2017. And in our Democratic Grassroots Victory Fund, we've had 7 major investors and have raised over $6 million. The finance team at every level have come together. Really, you have to remember that we had no finance team, and we had a finance team where major donor didn't talk to online, didn't talk to digital, wasn't working with direct marketing. Look at this, an increase in the number of gifts and an increase in the amount of gifts given in direct marketing. Caitlin Mitchell, are you in the room today? Every single member of our staff who've contributed through major gifts, through direct marketing, and through online fundraising, we are on fire, people. Thank you so much. In our online fundraising, 80% increase over 2016, and our recurring donors are up by 61%, and 45% of the donors to the DNC online are first-time donors. So, how do we spend your money?
I know Don Fowler's still in the room, but part of the goal of this presentation was to exceed your comments from the last meeting where you said it was the most transparent finance presentation you've seen in your time at the DNC. Let's start off with budget process. So when Tom got here and the team got here in 2017, there was no budget in place for 2017 or going forward. Not a surprise considering how much turmoil had gone through the building by that point. So the new initiative set forth, we get input from all the departments as to what they need and then review all that input to determine what the priorities are going to be and have a strategic approach to planning and developing new projects. There was also a process to assess existing costs, and not a surprise with a large organization that's been around for a while. There are a number of contracts and licenses that we're still getting paid for that weren't even being used, so there was a whole cleaning through of that process from licenses of computer software, kind of everything you could imagine. That's been cleaned up, and then the budget's been expanded going forward to address new priorities. The transcription is covering up some of this, but you'll see the size of the pie on the left represents the actual dollars of the budget from 2017. Obviously, we're spending more money this year. The pie is bigger, but specifically, we're spending more money on people. We're spending more money on contributions to campaigns, and we're spending more money on technology. So all the areas you want us to spend more money on, we're spending in those places. Senior leadership, as you know, you've seen it all around here. Almost every single person of senior leadership of the DNC is new. Tom has run a very rigorous process in recruiting people, and as you've seen from the presentations at the caucus meetings and here, we have some phenomenal folks in the various departments. I've not been on the DNC before, but for people who have been, I've been told that we've got some of the best staff that's ever been in this building right now, and it's really thanks to Tom and his leadership. Everyone likes to talk about the debt, and we can see the numbers here. So at mid-year, we were about $6.3 million in total liabilities. So, as I said last time, the FTC just called everything debt. Financial debt, we've got about $1 million or so, $1.5 million owed to our bank right now. We have a line of credit that we took out so that we could manage our spending against some of the timing issues associated with contributions. You know, Tom's made a big focus on investing early in the cycle, but the rest of that number, that 6.3 number, is really amounts owed to our vendors, our legal bills and things like that. But you'll see it's nowhere near its peak. In other years, we think it's a good and manageable number. So our priorities in 2018, two principal ones are organize everywhere and harness data. So as you know, we're investing in the state, the SPP and the SPIF programs. We've been investing in political and organizing across the country. We've reinvigorated the Best Practices Institute and rolled out the I Will Vote initiative. The other critical element to winning elections is data, delivering good data to campaigns and candidates. And led by Rafi, our technology data mobilization teams have made nationwide progress and acquisitions, 94 million cell phone numbers tied to actual voters, and that's really turbocharged campaigns. One example of that is technology specifically. It's our largest investment is in talent, actual people. We've increased on-site engineering data and security, so we're no longer outsourcing our security, our tech security. It is all in-house with top-notch people and higher levels of experience we've ever had inside the DNC. Now, you may think this is all kind of just DNC people telling you what you want to hear, but just to kind of prove to you that we are making a difference, we raised some money in Alabama. I may have talked about this last time for Alabama, and I had some major donors calling up saying they're hearing the DNC is nowhere to be seen in Alabama for Doug Jones, and that was by design. We weren't waving DNC flags and T-shirts, we were waving Doug Jones T-shirts. So, this is a quote from one of my least favorite people, Steve Bannon. The DNC came into Alabama, slipped in there under the radar, did an amazing job of organizing. What's my favorite word? Ground game. It's 2 words actually. Back to school. You've got to give the devil its due. I objected that line. I tell people every day, there's no magic wand. You're going to have to outwork people. If you get outworked, you're going to lose. And I've got to tell you their ability, our ability, to get out votes. That is what it comes down to. Those are the priorities of the new DNC. That's what we're doing. That's where we're investing our money. That's where we're investing our major donor money. And when I tell people this, the major donors about it, they get very excited. Now I'm going to ask Lorna to walk us through some of the things that we've been doing inside the building from a personnel perspective.
Well, as you can see, well, how our money's been spent. In terms of the staffing, we can see that we've spent a lot of money, and we're almost 70%, greater than 70% increase from the time when we came into office in terms of political and organizing, as well as mobilizing. So that has been where most of our money's been spent, and because we believe that the grassroots is important, and we cannot go leave any stones unturned. So we're making sure that the monies are spent and we have the proper staffing wherever we need them. For senior staff, we have 50% of people of color, as well as 58% female. So we are proud of the significant diversity from we started. 44% people of color, 51% are females, and we use a 10% for LGBT, but we don't know how correct that number is, just based on information that we have. 50% paid internships. We started paid internships sometime early this year, which has allowed more people of color to participate. We have 54% people of color and 64% female. And that's been a great change and advantage to people of color who could otherwise not afford to do internships. In terms of our vendors, we have minority women-owned business. Year to date, 184 vendors, 27% women and 18% people of color. Since April of this year, we had a luncheon that we would host a luncheon to teach people how to participate in applying or to become vendors. Top 3 vendors are minorities and women-owned. So we don't just have the insiders anymore, but we have people from the outside coming in. We do not have automatic renewal anymore, so everybody has to apply for a new contract each time. Tracking diversity, we're tracking diversity more closely with contracts for approval. And that is something that when we were running for office that many people talked about, and so we're trying to address everybody's needs. So it's not just for insiders anymore, as I said before, but it's open to all. And in April, we had the vendors luncheon, as I mentioned before, teaching others the first hosted the first lunch and learn and teach discussion of how we can bring other vendors in, and this was very successful at this luncheon. We had panelists that include Ozzie McGee, CEO of Burrell, Maria Cardona, Principal of Dewey Square, and John Seawright, founder and CEO of Blueprint Strategy LLC. Again, we talked about what the new DNC is about. The new DNC is about transparency, responsibility, responsiveness, diversity, effective, and being effective. So that's what we're all about. That's what the new DNC is all about. And we're here, we are prepared to win. And as a team, we want to thank all of you who have supported the DNC financially. Continue to give. We really appreciate every dollar that you give. It matters, it counts, and we're putting it to use. And I hope we're giving you the response and the feedback of transparency that you asked for. And if it's not clear enough for you today, please feel free to come to any of us and talk about any other detail that you may want about our financial report.
Folks, I want to give there's an unsung hero of the DNC. Her name is Caitlin Mitchell, and the digital team. They do a lot of grassroots fundraising. They're the ones who put together all these videos. They're the ones who are talking to people. They're doing so much stuff. And, you know, we have folks who are investing large amounts of money, and we have many, many, many more folks who are investing $20, $30. And Caitlin has been leading that effort. I want to say thank you. We are nearing the end of our very, very productive day here. I want to make sure you all know, help those Democrats in Florida out. Big primary coming up. Primary in Massachusetts coming up. Primary in my birth state of New York coming up. A lot of work to do. And I thought it would be so appropriate as we prepare to head out 73 days before the weekend, the most important election of our lifetimes, to hear from someone who frankly was a general in the movement. I feel like a historian or a foot soldier in the movement. And to be here today, blessed to have Reverend Jackson with us in the great city of Chicago, is a great honor. Reverend Jackson needs no introduction at all. He's been fighting his entire life to build an America that works for everyone. He's been fighting to expand the Democratic Party. He's been fighting for everyone, fighting for Latinos, fighting for African Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans. Everybody living in the shadows. Please welcome Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Good afternoon. Let me congratulate you on having another meeting with a 73-day countdown to regaining our nation's honor and its direction. Before I share with you my observations, I want us to pray for Aretha Franklin. Join hands and bow our heads in prayer. Pray for Aretha's sense of community, commitment to our nation, quality of the world. She sang at Barack's inauguration. President Jimmy Carter. She sang for the Pope. She sang for the common people. Let's use the joy she gave us to make us better, never bitter. Bless our families that go through our bereavement. Give us the joy of all of those who really believe are entitled to have. Amen.
Amen.
We're in a very strange season now. We seek to recover the honor of our nation in a revived civil war. Make a choice. A date with destiny. November 6th is a date with destiny. December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks sat in. Dr. King responded to the date with destiny. February 1st, 1960, students sat in. Young America came alive. It was a date with destiny. August 28, 1963, the March on Washington. A massive multicultural expression and will to dignity was a date with destiny. July 2nd, 1964, the Civil Rights Act passed. The day Dr. King spoke to us in Washington, from Texas across to Florida to Maryland, we could use the same public toilet. Black and Latino soldiers sat behind Nazi prisoners of war the day he spoke in Washington. We could not buy ice cream with Howard Johnson or rent a room with Holiday Inn. July 2nd, 1964. August 6, 1965, the Voting Rights Act. Here we are today dealing with rules, fair rules. Kennedy beat Nixon by 112,000 votes. Less than one vote per precinct. Nixon beat Humphrey by 400,000 votes. Hillary Clinton won by 3. She is the winner of the 2016 election. And one person, one vote democracy. It's hard to win by 3 million and lose. Speak a lot about WikiLeaks. Let's talk about TrickyLeaks. New York, Pennsylvania, and Michigan vote on one day only. Tricky. Removing precincts in North Carolina. TrickyLeaks.
Amen.
Yep. Reducing the number of days in Ohio for voting. TrickyLeaks. In rural Georgia, they're trying to close the Randolph County voting access. TrickyLeaks. Stacey Abrams in Georgia. SB in Mississippi. And Bridge can win if we in fact fight the TrickyLeaks. Stacey can win in Georgia. June 25, 2013, the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act, declared Section 40 been unconstitutional. Now it's time for us to hit the road and fight back. We passed resolution, we've met. 73 days, we'll have our country back again. Democratizing the rules matter. The strength of our party is neither left nor right, but the moral center. The Democratic Party got us out of the Great Depression. Food and Social Security was the moral center, but neither left nor right. Before they were Truman desegregated the military, the moral center. Affordable health care for all. Not health care for some, but for all. It's the moral center. All of this is not left or right, it's wrong or right. We globalize capital. We globalize technology. We must globalize human rights. Globalize women's rights, workers' rights, children's rights, environmental security. Here in Chicago not long ago, company to make saltine crackers and Oreo cookies, Nabisco. Now the workers making $35 an hour. They closed those workers' jobs, took them to Salinas, Mexico. Workers make $1 an hour. The Mexicans did not take jobs from us. We took jobs to them. We must not turn them to them. Healthcare for some, or healthcare for all. Make a choice in the moral center. Look at the Obama years, 26 million more on healthcare under Obama, 4 million less under Trump. Discuss that in Appalachia. Education for some or for all, the moral center. Real questions are how committed are we as Democrats to fight for democracy, but for states' right and local control. Gore was beating Bush. Bush got a 534 vote lead, 27,000 black votes in the ballot kind of not counted. That's how he won.
That's right.
You can't win and lose in 2000. Win and lose in 2000 and not fight back. When we win, we win. After Shelby, entry registration of 16 and 17-year-olds, sold the polls on Sunday, reduced the number of early voting days. It was to suppress the votes of African Americans, Hispanics, Asian Americans, working people, women. We must resist this attack on democracy. I want to suggest this to you today. To leave this place, 4 million blacks in the South, unregistered. 2.2 million who were registered didn't vote in the last election. Register them and politically educate them and earn their respect and their votes. It's not enough to work. Half Americans make less than $15 an hour. Got a job that can't afford health care. Got a job that can't afford to go to school. Got a job that can't afford transportation. $15 is minimum wage. It's clear for working people. Support renewable energy to save the environment and our planet. It seems to me that the Puerto Rican crisis is yet another opportunity. Every Puerto Rican has a right to move to Florida and vote. We can take Florida by turning the lights on, Christian, this time in Puerto Rico. You turn the lights on in Puerto Rico, we win Florida. Go on the way. Stateside. Obama came in office, we lost 800,000 jobs that month, and the banking collapse. Amidst a recession, there was a net gain of jobs each month for 8 years. Banks restabilized and all the industry established again. Climate change agreement in Florida, in Paris, and dealt with Iran to all the nuclear projections. Trump inherited the tailwind, Obama inherited the headwind.
Amen.
They did a tax cut for a few and job cuts, health benefit cuts, public education cuts. What about engaging in racial polarization can obsess making the 1% richer? We must be the party. Equal high public education. We must be the party to take babies out of cages on the border. No, I treat by the fruit of Jesus was a border baby, born under a death warrant, went to Egypt as a refugee, gained asylum and became indeed a refugee in Egypt. And Mary and Joseph were not separated from the baby. Babies important, babies in cages must be a rallying cry in Texas and across the nation. Buildings in the dark in Puerto Rico, a rallying cry. Coal mines without adequate safety and security in the mines. Over and over again, Lyndon Johnson opened up the war on poverty. He didn't go to Harlem and embrace some black baby and get stereotyped. He opened up in Appalachia. Most poor people are not black. They're not brown, they're white. Female and young. Whether white, black, or brown, hunger hurts. All these are people. These are Democrats. In Ohio, 33 counties are in Appalachia. If we care the most, we win the most. Deserve to win. This is our day. Self-destructive crisis presented by these thieves It was a great opportunity. But we're looking today at something very dangerous for our nation. It's not just racism. It's racism. It's misogyny. It's gender bias. It's corrupt. It's violent. It's dangerous. We must take the nation back in 73 days. People care that we know, but they must know. See, people, repeat people care that we know. But they must know that we care. We take babies out of cages. We care. Turn the lights on in Puerto Rico. We care. Coal miners, safety and security. We care. And we care the most, for the most, deserve to win, and we will win. We are the multicultural, multiracial party. We must see the world through a door. We must see the world through a door, not through a keyhole. Human rights must matter at home and everywhere. Don't let them break our spirits. Work harder. Be more determined. Fight the right fight. Love you one another as I've loved you. If we have the faith, God has the power to see us through. We fall down sometime. We get up again, over and over again, because the ground is no place for champions. So we rise. We rise with the American flag. We rise for justice. We rise for women. We rise for children. We rise for our future. We rise for hope. We rise. 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 Because we care. We rise. Because we care. We rise. Because we love people. We rise. Love you very much. Let us stand and join hands. What a privilege it is to pray, to love one another as we've been loved, and find the joy within each other. This room is the destiny of our nation, and maybe of our world. Accept our petition, dear God. Make us fit for the fight. Make us better and never bitter. Across lines of region and religion and race, we find common ground. We find hope in one another. He sends us a son who got back up again, and so we get up again, and we rise. But bless us and keep us, that we see each other on the 74th day from now. We celebrate and sing how we got over. How we got over. We work by day, celebrate by night, how we got over. Amen.
Amen.
What a way to be inspired. Thank you, Reverend Jackson. I'm going to turn to Jason for quick announcements. I want to say thank you to our budget finance co-chairs, Dan Helper and Doris Krause-Mays. You heard the presentations, but Doris, Dan have been indispensable in leading that committee. I want to say thank you to both of them. Let me turn to Jason very briefly, and then Blake will close it out.
Well, thank you all for a wonderful meeting. I believe there are some soda and snacks outside the room for members. Safe travels home, and I'll turn it over to Vice Chair Blake.
Malcolm has one very important announcement.
First of all, can we give the staff that have been serving us and helping us and supporting us a round of applause? Those inside the room, those that have been helping us in the hotel, you show them love right now. And as a perfect sign to say thank you and for unity, on behalf of the DNC, if you want to join us for beers and cocktails upstairs, it's on us of American Craft right now. So let's come on upstairs, let's close on out, and let's go kick ass and win on November, all right?